BLUELOCK's first U20 World Cup match, Japan versus Nigeria, has officially ended, and with a bang. Major character developments, unexpected goals, and slander we all love to see. This game was somehow hella hype and hella funny at the same time. Since the game is finished though, I got a lot of requests to compile my reviews in one easy to watch video. So here we are with the full match overview, every chapter of the Nigeria game from start to finish. This is for y'all who are catching up with the manga after waiting for the game to end, those who want to binge watch the reviews in one single place, hell, maybe in the future people are watching this after season 3 of BLUELOCK, or if you want to just rewatch the Nigeria game with my commentary on it, whatever it is, this is going to be a long one, so relax, grab your popcorn, and let's jump into the full Japan versus Nigeria game. The chapter begins with Isagi lacing up and taking a deep breath. It's game time, and Isagi affirms himself that he is a machine living only for goals, but corrects himself saying that he's the tool that'll make Japan the world's best. We got a full panel of the BLUELOCK stadium, fireworks going off, everyone holding light sticks, the match is in the nighttime, and look at how many people are here. This is a full house. I'm just as hype as bro right here. There's a lot of spectators, and we see Baratsuta having a drink, with the text telling us the long-awaited first round is about to begin. And the starting 11 kicks off with Gagamaru. Our GOAT goalkeeper, that's our boy. Everyone loves Gagamaru, as he does a little Mario jump to enter the field, and the crowd right behind him cheering, even the Huz right here shouting out his name. The center backs are next, and it's none other than Captain Aiku. That's right, folks, Aiku is our confirmed captain, and I just gotta say, this is so well-deserved, man. Let's get some snaps going for Aiku. Ryu is next, and we see his luscious, glorious, shining hair. As we move to the last center back, Nico, the brains of the defensive line. We know he about to be calculating every single step on the pitch. So we got the Uber's defense pretty much with 3 center backs. I gotta say, it's a little unexpected to see all 3 of them here, but it's a very strong defense. Ego gotta be cooking something up if you put all 3 in here at once. As the announcements continue, Nagi Seishiro is here in the BLUELOCK stadium scanning in his ticket, and this was the big mystery. What was he doing walking towards the stadium? I know some of y'all are sick of this man and just want to see the U20 World Cup, but Nagi plays a huge role in this chapter as he dialogues on how he's no longer a part of BLUELOCK and betrayed his philosophy of living for his own goal. He lost and ended up here. While Nagi talks, we get more reveals for the starting 11. On the right side back, we got Godspeed Chigiri Hyoma. And who gave him this Wally West nickname? And a better question, why is he on the right? Isn't his 44 Panther snipe along the left side? Anyways, Hiyori is on the left side back, all smiles and sunshines for bro, like he for real the only one smiling, while everyone is going through despair in BLUELOCK. All of a sudden, Nagi starts running though, and talks about how he'll see something new. A security guard puts his hand out trying to stop him, but Nagi is starting to understand who he really is, as he hits this unnecessary pose, dashing past the security. And look at these 2 fools. They ain't even try to catch up to bro. They just watching him go by. Like, imagine if it was an actual intruder and not Nagi Seishiro. If I'm Ego, I'm personally firing these guys myself. Nagi continues running, talking about how he realized that he wasn't actually fired up just by playing soccer itself. And then we jump over to the midfielder reveals. I know it's a little confusing going back and forth between Nagi and the starting 11, but this is literally how they did it. Karasu is here, waving his hand to the crowd as a defensive midfielder. And damn, we are legit stacking the back like this is Balloons Tower Defense. We adding Karasu to Aiku, Ryu, and Nico. Are we trying to stop Thanos or something? The next midfielder is revealed to be Mikage Reo, and oh my god, we didn't see him last chapter training, and we knew he had to copy all the other players in BLUELOCK, so trust me, Reo is about to serve us a 5-star meal, a Michelin star dish. I'm telling y'all, we have to invest in Reo stocks now. I'm manifesting the Reo goal. I may be D1 glazing, but trust me, it will pay off. We cut over to Nagi again, and he talks about how the reality is no matter how much he tried to get fired up with Reo, it just didn't work. We just keep jumping back and forth though, and now we're at Batra being announced as the left midfielder. Yeah, man, Batra is a must-have player, so it's no surprise here. If I recall, he's actually started for every team since BLUELOCK started. He hasn't been benched or subbed once. In the U20 game, in the NEL, and now he's a star player here for sure. I also just gotta point out, I love the fact that each of them are getting their own individual walkout. The team walked out for the U20 game, so having them individually hyped up with their own poses is completely different. The fireworks are going off. It's just beautiful cinema. We hop over to Nagi yet again, and not gonna lie, I'm kind of getting sick of the back and forth. Let's just get a few pages in a row. Nagi says he won't play soccer just to stay by Ryo's side, and then we jump again to the last forwards. The amount of back and forth needs to be studied. I feel like I'm reading 2 chapters at the same time. Anyways, Itoshi Rin is the next player to walk out, and I'm the #1 Rin glazer, but I may have been topped in glaze by this announcer. They said the strongest striker in BLUELOCK and said the beast. Yeah, it's time for me to wrap it up. Someone else got the job now. Bro also still nonchalant, not doing anything. What is he even looking at here as well? Is he breaking the 4th wall? We're once again back to Nagi Seishiro, who says it's not like he wants to go back to BLUELOCK or face Isagi, as we see the door for JFU members is there, and we learn about Nagi's true objective. As he slides the door open with this dramatic awe pose, and Baratsuta looks back confused to see the door open, as Nagi Seishiro talks about the true identity of his ego. We see this jolly little guy celebrating for Japan's last player. It's none other than Isagi Yoichi, BLUELOCK's prodigy, and look at my boy. He is locked in. You can't tell me that that face means game time, and the hype levels are through the roof. Our boy Isagi is a forward alongside Rin, and we got our whole team against Nigeria. And this is the final formation. I'm gonna save my thoughts for later, but no Shido, no barou. I would say a very safe formation. Anyways, aura eyes appear for Nagi as he reminisces about his time through BLUELOCK and says he misses the godlike thrill of it all, showing his goal celebration during the U20 game. Nagi says for that thrill, he doesn't care if he loses everything else, as he asks the chairman if he still has a 1 spot open for him. As Nagi reveals he wants to become the world's best, not caring about crushing BLUELOCK. Nah, Nagi Seishiro is back in BLUELOCK through the Baratsuta side B selection, and look at bro's skull aura, he's back to life. I think Nagi fans just gotta give a personal thank you to Igaguri. Like, you gotta remember that he was the one to bring back Nagi for y'all, which is crazy to think Igaguri of all people did that. It's getting increasingly clear that Nagi is about to be on demon time. His aura is back, he doesn't care about crushing BLUELOCK, Isagi, or Ryo, and he even entering the Baratsuta contract to do so. The match of the century, Nagi versus Kira versus Shigeo Mizuki. This will be cinema, and I'm not even the biggest Nagi fan. In fact, I think they returned him a little too early. I just can't deny the fact that Red Key might be entertaining as hell. Nagi comeback and the starting 11 reveal. At this point, this is already a 10 out of 10 chapter, but then we get the reveal of the Nigeria team, and oh my god, they look tough. We got main man in the front. His name is Onazi, as he says, "Let's go all out BLUELOCK," and flashes a smile. I'm gonna be honest, this guy is definitely the best one here. Bro with the glasses looks amazing. This is probably Yuki Miya if he was good. The pose and everything tells me this guy about to be Nigeria's #1 aura farmer. And man's right here looks like he has 0 care in the world. He hitting the "Are you entertained yet" pose. He just here for the scrap, and that's all. Another one is lacing up with this devious smile, and I just gotta point out these scary silhouettes in the back. If we ain't revealing them right now, then these gotta be some Avengers level threats. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not feeling stressed. I trust in my boys, but it's a little shaky. Look at bro's smile. And these damn silhouettes, this cannot be a good sign. Isagi holds his ear translating what Onazi said, and he smiles himself with the aura eyes appearing, saying time to get to the top as the U20 World Cup kicks off. The chapter begins with a flashback of Nigeria's 4 players we saw from last chapter. Onazi and the others are childhood friends now in the U20 team. And we already starting with a flashback. This cannot be a good sign. We might already be cooked, y'all, because every time there is a flashback, something happens. Kaiser got a flashback and scored a goal. Rin got a flashback and scored a goal. Even damn Kiora Jin got a flashback and made the assist that saved him. So if Nigeria's Fantastic Four gets a flashback, we might just be beyond saving. But anyways, you can tell Onazi is the group leader between them. The other four are amazed at him, even saying Onazi brought them light. And that's pretty wholesome. 4 childhood friends playing together with Onazi motivating them. Are we also going to talk about this Ver as a little kid? Bro, Mario jumped at an Olympic level at 10 years old. The announcers from the BLUELOCK versus U20 game are back, and this is a good decision from Japan. These guys added a lot of energy to that game, so we're definitely gonna see it here too. They explain how the group stage works, which we already know about. The top 2 teams advance from a round robin tournament, and that leads to the big tournament for the trophy. The commentators add on that the translation earbuds from the Mikage Corporation are also going to be used. The commentators are just as hype as we are, and we see the formation revealed. Onazi is the only striker for Nigeria. But we have finally made it, folks. The U20 World Cup is here. Just look at this beautiful panel. This is the type of panel that gets you emotional and whatnot. Anyways, we see Isagi and Rin take off as Onazi passes to Glasses Guy to start with the ball. We immediately jump into it and find out he's an offensive midfielder and goes by the name Kuso. Isagi and Rin charge after him, but he swiftly weaves Isagi. Nah, we need the Flight Reacts instant replay on this. I don't even think Isagi is bad. This guy is just that good, and it forces Rin to have to block him. But bro uses his Sharingan to nutmeg Rin, and before Rayo could deflect as well, saying it was the shortest, best answer, and most optimal move. I knew the second we saw this guy, he was gonna be the aura farmer of the Nigeria team, and looky here, this guy was just nonchalant this whole play. I'm telling y'all, this is Yuki Miya if he was good and not blind. No offense to the Yuki Miya fans. Stop playing, bro, because I invested hard in Rin and Rayo stocks, and they both got cooked in the same panel. I cannot lie, folks. I'm down in the dumps after this. However, Bachira is here to steal the ball, but coming in like the Mystic Man, the right midfielder, Bello, is gunning for it too. He actually gets to the ball first and hits the spin on Bachira himself. The spinner just got spun on. And then he immediately hits a pass for a quick attack pattern. RU says the pass is a little rough, but then out of nowhere, Onazi hits this diagonal, high vertical jump to trap the ball. And I knew this kid jumping that high was a little sus. Like, he was behind RU and diagonally jumped to get to it first. Man's got RU with the exclamation point question mark, and then he says, "It's totally fine because I am here." And a bro might just be All Might. I see why they said Onazi brought the light to the team. He even jumped in like All Might. RU then says, "Come on, Captain," as Aiku appears on the defense. This guy, RU, really summoned him like Little Prince. I'm hella dead. Aiku points out that Onazi has some good springs or jumping power, and to literally prove his point right, he says right there it's open and hits a mid-air direct shot towards the open spot. Y'all, it's been like 1 minute into the game. Are we about to see the fastest goal of all time? But remember, folks, there was 3 as Nico comes in and face blocks Onazi's shot and immediately starts aura farming, saying he fills the gaps. This is the iron rule of positioning. Got bro looking like Lorenzo out there. Ubers really did numbers for him, and the Nico stocks are up, y'all. I gotta give a personal thank you to him because he really saved us from that shot. I'm a little bit concerned though, because even though Onazi's shot got blocked, he said awesome. Like, what kind of person gets his shot blocked and says awesome? The corner of the page, though, we see feathers, and that can only mean one thing, y'all. Karasu hits his signature midair chest trap, says, "Let's go, Reborn BLUELOCK," and sends the ball flying for a counterattack. This double spread is absolutely insane, by the way. Even the commentators are geeking, talking about how the counter is coming. And none other than Hiryo gets the ball with the Glasses right behind him. But before anyone can block, he hits a fast pass behind Mr. Clean, I think the first bald guy in BLUELOCK. to none other than Itoshi Rin. They're quick on the counter as we see non-destroyer Rin get past 2 defenders, and I don't even see his water aura, the super idol Rin. So is this just base Rin or a completely new mode from his meditation training? However, the 4th member from the last chapter is revealed. The defender Oboa Bona tells Rin to stop. But before Oboa Bona can do anything, Rin activates Predator's Eye and says the thing. That's tepid. It's already been fired as he goes for the shot. And look at Oboa Bona. Mans is stunned. He got the wide eyes and everything because the shot literally curved around him. And this game has just been going so quick. One chapter, we saw both teams get a shot attempt off. As the ball curves though, and we are left in anticipation seeing if Rin scores, Onazi, out of all people, blocks the shot and says, "It's okay because I am here." Okay, wait. He might unironically be All Might, because how is he here? He just used one for all to get here. The phenomenon of strikers defending continues. Mr. Goalkeeper didn't even move. I'm not even joking. This is on par with Julian Loki's block. Like, Loki was in the box during the Kaiser Impact block, but Onazi was across the pitch. Bro was back in Nigeria, and he somehow made it back to block it. If you recall, Glasses, who was trying to catch up to Hiyori in the midfield, like, he somehow passed him even though he was on the opposite side. Nah, Onazi is a literal cheat code. Somebody stop this man. He even flashing a smile, and this might just be the Duke Dennis of the Blue Lock verse. He even got Japan cheering for him. Why is the Japanese fans cheering? Do we hate Rin this much? Even the announcers are questioning how he's here, but giving props when props are due, saying that both teams are brilliant. I still can't wrap my head around Onazi blocking this. From everything we've seen in this chapter, he's the group leader, he got a shot off, he saved the team from a goal, and he's All Might on top of that. This guy's just built different. With the ball deflecting off the post though, it's in the air, and none other than Isagi Yoichi is staring at it, and there is puzzle, folks. He says no, transcendence completed. He can see a guaranteed victory vision. And dog, what? Transcendence completed? Is he going to the astral plane? Is he using his ultimate? It hasn't even been 5 minutes into the match, and a bro saying a guaranteed victory vision. How he do that already? And do we believe him? I mean, we see all the puzzles, so I do think bro is about to cook. But per usual, we're left on a cliffhanger, so we gotta wait till next week. The chapter begins with Oliver Aiku with Metavision eyes staring down the field like a hawk. And I love the fact we are getting more highlight for him. He really sticking up as captain. I'm a little confused though, because last time we left off, Isagi was staring at the ball. You know, that ridiculous panel of him saying he has a winning formula in the span of one play. Like, seriously, how would he do that? Aiku begins analyzing over Nigeria's team, saying that just like he expected, Nigeria is making use of their natural physical abilities. We get a flashback to Kuso and Bello as well, and he says even though it was a tough pass, he got through to it using strength alone. So that initiative, its final form, is the ace striker joining in and aiming for the goal. A single point of concentration formation. Again, Aiku is literally Tony Stark because he really be calculating all that in his head in like 1 second. And another thing, Onazi is already up and running. It's getting increasingly clear that this guy is just the #1 athlete. There's levels to this. He literally just blocked the shot and now he's ready for the next play. Aiku shouts for the second ball, but at the same time, I don't know what bro was expecting. He's literally across the pitch. Unless we got some supersonic hearing, I don't know if they hearing this, bro. And then Aiku gives some analysis on Blue Lock's formation, saying the contrast is that ours is an egoistic lineup that can score from anywhere. Both are super aggressive ways of football. So to put it in Blue Lock terms for y'all, Nigeria is Ubers with a one-man army from Onazi, and Japan is PXG with shots coming from everywhere. Aiku smiles and says okay. As expected before the battle, it will be an attack versus attack shootout. This guy Aiku talking about this like it's Civil War. We're back in current times though, and we see Oboa Bona get this Jumanji jump clear on Rin, straight out of Bunny Iglesias' book. To make things worse, Rin got his mouth wide open like he just seen the most ridiculous thing in his life. Aboabona really took off the nonchalant persona. I just ranked Nigeria's players, and I knew Aboabona, even though he got made an example of by Rin, wasn't fodder. I trusted in our boy. Aboabona says me, nice clear, and then Kuso picks up the ball, complimenting Obo, which is his nickname by the way, the first 3 letters of his name. They go for the quick counter, and Isagi quite literally slides in to go against Kuso. Isagi's face just says game time as well. I swear he's about to unleash Hollow Purple or something. He's surprised at their fast response, and yes, more respect for my glorious GOAT Isagi. Kuso then talks about how they've come with a high press to shut them down. And then enter Mikage Reo, who teams up with Isagi for the 1v2, and Kuso is in shock. Not gonna lie though, my mans can't catch a break. He constantly in a 1v2. Like, where's the other 6 to 7 players to back him up? Reo tells Isagi, let's hunt them down, and Isagi says he's going in for the kill. I'm geeking, y'all. When have we seen these two team up before? We might be witnessing history, folks. I also like how they're talking about this, like they're about to go hunting for real. Anyways, Kuso says there's no wasted movements in their coordinated hunt, as he tries to keep the ball away from Reo and Isagi. However, Onazi is right behind Kuso and shouts out to him, and of course Onazi would be here, man. What's new? Like, this guy's everywhere he needs to be. At this point, Onazi is every single player in Nigeria. Kuso passes it back, saying a nice follow-up, Onazi. But then out of nowhere, Karasu steals the ball, literally this picture by the way, and then calls them ordinary. So on top of stealing possession, he dropped his signature line, basically calling them mid. Nah, Karasu standing on business, and I gotta respect it. He says he can see their thinking, adding this unnecessary idiot comment as well, which is pretty funny to me. Even Onazi says uh-oh. Now it's time for Kuso to start analyzing though, and we got some analysis battle going on here, because he starts talking about Nigeria's coordination and being read by BLUELOCK. He adds that it's only been 2 minutes, and am I seeing that right? We are 2 minutes in? Dog, what? By the time this match ends in 90 minutes, I'm gonna have a family, which you can help by hitting the subscribe button. Shameless plug aside, Kuso questions whether BLUELOCK has already adapted to Nigeria. We get an NPC defender telling Nigeria to cover Hiyori because of his cross earlier, but Karasu says, sorry, I'm spiteful, and passes to the side instead, where Chigiri Hyoma runs in and gets the pass. We knew we didn't see him in last chapter for a reason. It's time for that boy to use those legs. He says, let's go straight to the end of the line, and the other defender has me hella dead because he is flabbergasted that Chigiri in the past went to the opposite side. Mans broke his neck with that 180 look. Chigiri then pulls out Naobito Zenin's curse technique to pass another Nigeria defender. And this is a little embarrassing for this guy, I won't lie. The most he could do was get a handout. Kuso talks about how they're breaking through the side now and not from the center, using speed to do so, and calling out for the cross. But it's too late as Chigiri sent the pass already. Standing ovation for Chigiri, he did his job well. Now the ball looks like it's going towards Rin. Kuso must have seen Rin during the NEL when he turned into the boogeyman, because he immediately gets onto him at saying, come Itoshi Rin. Like, he really don't care about Isagi, Reo, or anyone else. He just wants to cover Rin. I'm telling y'all, he must have seen what we saw when we read PXG. The pass was a fake though, as it heads straight towards Isagi, and Kuso is astonished that it's not Rin. We see Isagi's metavision eyes are activated now, and he says he'll take this. But an ominous feeling appears, because it's been too long since we've seen a certain someone. In fact, there is a sneaky foot on the bottom saying no. And I think we can all assume who it is. He's coming, y'all. The chapter starts with Onazi and Isagi. If you don't remember, 2 weeks ago, Chigiri passed to Isagi. It looks like he was gonna get the ball, but then there was a mysterious foot. We didn't know exactly who it was, but of course it was revealed to be Onazi, because what else is new? This guy is everywhere across the pitch. He tells Isagi that he knows his direct shots are dangerous. Okay, Onazi, he must have watched the NEL. That's ball knowledge right there. Onazi flashes a smile and says, but it's okay as long as I'm, just to get cut off by Isagi, who finishes his sentence for him. Side-eye metavision Isagi will always be saying some nefarious words. He says, "Still with that same old line, you monotonous bastard." And nah, Isagi is too cold, man, mocking him with his own signature line. We are back to the brutal Isagi who loves to talk that talk. I just know the Isagi fans are going crazy over this panel. This man loves repeating the same line back to his opponents. This was his game plan from before. He figured out Onazi will always be there in the span of like 2 minutes or 2 plays, which is actually crazy. And you can tell Onazi is stunned because it's just a close-up zoom in of his eyes, and I've seen my fair share of anime to know the character is getting bamboozled or going crazy, and it's definitely the first. Isagi hits a surprise pass back and starts telling Onazi that his own weapon is unlimited stamina, allowing him to appear in every situation, both offense and defense. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if it's just unlimited stamina for Onazi, because I know a certain someone with unlimited stamina as his weapon that was useless, a waste of ink, so I don't think it's just that. But he keeps going, telling Onazi that he has high fundamental abilities, and by endlessly running over the pitch, he activates the Nigerian team. At this point, Isagi is just flexing his ball knowledge, like he don't gotta tell Onazi he knows all of this, but he's telling him anyways. And the fact that he got all this information in like 2 minutes is still mind-boggling to me. You would think he would be done talking after exposing Onazi's whole personality, a weapon, a social security number, and birthday, but he says, in other words, as long as you don't touch the ball, your entire team can be strangled, as we see Bachira receive the pass. Hisagi really out here exposing Onazi, but let's focus on Bachira getting the ball. He quite literally meows, which is word for word what the manga says. It's so hyped to see Bachira and Isagi work together again. Like, this just brings me copious amounts of joy seeing them right next to each other. Onazi is still looking stunned. Like, honestly, I would be too after getting fully exposed by Isagi. And Kuso is taking note as well, saying, so that's it. We get another analysis battle, and Kuso tries to understand what's going on, saying that it's not BLUELOCK as a whole that adapted to Nigeria. While this is going on as well, we see Bachira start to make his way upfield, and Kuso is talking about how the starting point or switch of both offense and defense was to keep Onazi off the ball. He also talks about how it all starts with Isagi and gives props to Karasu and Ryo, saying that they are the two brainiacs in the midfield that fill in any missing spots. Both Itoshi Rin with Kuso on him and Isagi with Onazi on him start running with these ultra instinct eyes, trying to get a pass from Bachira as he is in a pass motion. My man Kuso looks like he's seen a ghost and says the two aces started running towards the goal, so he needs to find the next setup. Will Bachira pass to either Itoshi Rin or Isagi? But in the corner of our eyes, we see Bachira say, "Who said I'd pass to you, number ones?" and weaves a Nigerian defender as we see him make it up the field himself. He weaves both Onazi and Isagi, as well as Kuso and Rin, in this insane double spread, and this is just so hype, man. He damn near just soloed the Nigeria defense. I used to pray for times like this. I know Bachira has been in the shadows because his NEL team was just Bachira and the Trash Can Friends, so he kind of got casted to the side, but now he's doing it, y'all, and I'm a happy camper. Kuso's face is all you need to know. Like, I have never seen 2 exclamation points and a question mark before. Mans can't believe his eyes. He didn't know Bachira was built like that. The next page is him confused at Bachira pulling off a hardcore freestyle improv play. Man, this guy really put 3 adjectives for this play. But we see Bachira the egoist take the shot as Aboabona tries to get in his way. And we get extra dialogue from Kuso, who says this is a fusion football that mixes tactical intelligence on the battlefield with the ultimate form of egoism. Let's be honest though, didn't we do our research on BLUELOCK? Like, we knew Isagi had direct shots, but we didn't know Bachira legit carried his team in the NEL? He is probably the only man that can pull off this dribble. It was literally broadcasted live for everyone to see. However, we continue with Bachira's shot nutmegging Aboabona, and we see it go towards the goal as the next page reveals the first goal of the U20 World Cup going to Bachira Meguru. Oh my god, he really did it, y'all. That's my goal. Our best boy scoring the opener like it's nothing. Keep in mind, Bachira scored the opening goal of the NEL and then scored the opening goal of the the U20 World Cup. He's just built different. This actually does numbers for the Bachara fans, as well as his power rankings. Is he still at that number 5 spot, or does he go above a Barou and Cheeto? We're not done yet, though, as Kuso dialogues that this is the reborn BLUELOCK, with Isagi Yoichi at its core. So now we dropping the nucleus/core chapter name. If you don't remember, this was also Isagi's training during the 2-week break when everyone had some ridiculous panels. His was about game-changing moments, which is exactly what happened here. I like how Kuso is also glazing Isagi to the max, even though Bachara pretty much just soloed his whole team, but it's no big deal, both can get highlight. We see Isagi smiling and telling Bachara, not bad, monster, but really, Isagi? He's saying not bad, like this goal was another day in the office for him, which is hella funny to me. Bachara smiles as well, then says ego bursting out, as the chapter ends with the two who started it all. We pick up with the stadium erupting and celebrating a Bachara's goal, the commentators adding to the hype, chanting a goal and a Bachara's name. Ego staring down the field with zero emotion. Bro is just too nonchalant. He don't care that Bachara scored. This is another day in the office for Ego. The commentators start hyping up Bachara, saying the one who broke through the 2 aces who scored the opening goal is Japan's king dribbler, Bachara Meguru, as we see his backflip goal celebration. Yo, this goal celly is so hype, man. It got me smiling and whatnot. I gotta say, this is the most Bachara goal celebration of all time. He hit this right in front of a Boa Bona too. All he could do is look up and witness this. You can even see the time in the background. 3 minutes and we already up by 1. It's looking good for our boys and we're styling on them. As Bachara smiles, we start getting into a flashback of his 14-day training when he went to that school to teach kids football. They're all asking him how to play, and Bachara tells the kids to try juggling by hitting the ball with the top of your foot. But bro, did Bachara forget these are kindergarteners? I doubt they even know what the word juggle means. We see the kids trying their best, but obviously struggling, and then Bachara laughing, telling them to not think as hard and just enjoy it. Top 10 worst advice of all time, by the way. Then we see some kids getting frustrated because this just juggle the ball advice isn't working. In fact, some kid gets hit in the back of his head. Bachara gets an epiphany though and realizes that what feels normal for him, what he takes for granted, isn't normal for everyone else. So he has to take a different approach to teaching. He then explains it step by step what to do, and now the kids are actually able to do it. I just gotta say, this is such a wholesome moment, man. Bachara as a teacher be heartwarming somehow. We then get a flashback to Ego's note to Bachara and the real meaning behind it. How, in order to teach someone, you need to put what you feel into words and explain them. Doing so confirms what you are feeling right now and what your true potential is, so basically, taking the extra steps to understand what you are really doing. Bachara realizes this is the true intent of Ego's assignment, awakening the hidden instinctual talent within him. We need to get some snaps to Ego, because this gotta be the most creative training ever, and somehow Bachara figured it out. Bachara talks about how dribbling is the true essence of his football talent, and that by turning a dribbling into Ego, he'll become the #1 of the U20 World Cup. The flashback ends, and Onazi is all of us in this moment, just in awe of Bachara. But come on, Onazi, lock in! We just got scored in the first minutes of the game. We can't be complimenting the enemy. We see the Nigeria 4 ready to go again, with Onazi telling everyone to believe in him. Not gonna lie though, this is the exact game plan we had before. Why aren't we changing anything? We just got scored on in a record time. Most of y'all's faces during it was like you seen a ghost. Let's switch up something or we're literally gonna repeat the past. We're straight back to the action though as the game restarts and we see Kuso weave Bachara, who even drops him a compliment. The dribbler just got dribbled on, but he ain't a defender, so I'm not really tripping. Kuso starts dialoguing on how the midfield builds up with him as the axis, and that the key is to keep Isagi Yoichi from touching the ball and connecting it to Onazi. Y'all thought we were Isagi fans? Man, Kuso legit saw Bachara score, glazed Isagi, and then made the whole Nigeria game plan to stop him. Like, I'm sorry, y'all, we ain't the #1 Isagi glazers anymore. As the attack moves upfield, we see Ryu slide into the frame, saying, "I stand in the way," and let's go, man. We even got got Onazi stunned. Like, look at this man's eyes. Onazi asks what's up with Ryu, and he starts his inner monologue on his 14-day training with Ego and the secret technique he learned. So I guess this match, we're gonna see everyone's training. We see Ryu doing some Shaolin monk movements and says this technique shines when a defender faces a one-on-one, as Ryu activates a simple domain against Onazi. This might just be Akaza's compass. What the hell actually is this? Like, you can't tell me this isn't this or this. If I'm Onazi, I'm fearing for my safety at this point. Screw the damn ball. We find out he learned about Judo's Mai, which translates to distance/timing, and that from the subtle movements of the opponent, he can sense their next action. So yup, Ryu just became a grade 1 Jiu-Jitsu sorcerer. You can't make this up. In football, it connects directly to defensive techniques, as we see him pay attention to Onazi's movements, which allows Ryu to predict Onazi. He can't get past the big man, so he's forced to pass to Kuso, telling him to give him an idea, and Kuso says good. But out of nowhere, Nico is here like the mystic man to steal the ball, even saying that pass wasn't good. Round of applause. Nico really turned up for the U20 World Cup. Just a few chapters ago, he blocked Onazi's shot too. I gotta say, his stocks are actually skyrocketing. He ain't that little boy anymore. He tells Kuso that if he hesitates, his intentions gets exposed, as Kuso is completely flabbergasted at Nico's core strength and not being able to push him back, saying his muscle mass is insane. We then get a flashback to Nico's letter, which told him his brain is excellent and to carry out the physical transformation to match it. In other words, Ego told him to go to the gym. He damn near got that David Lade transformation. How he gained so much muscle in 14 days? Like, anyone that gyms knows how ridiculous this sounds. We might need a steroid test on Nico. He might have a different type of advantage. This panel of Nico holding back Kuso is actually insane. Like I said, we need a drug test on him. He just says he trains hard, but we know he had to do a little something else too. Nico starts moving up, and we see Kuso trying his best to catch up to him, but to no avail. And now Japan literally has possession again. So they got scored on in basically 3 minutes and now have the ball. Guys, Nigeria might be beyond cooked. Kuso says that the defense evolved not seen in the prior data. We see him yelling out, saying that this is bad and the counter is coming. Look at the genuine concern on Kuso's face. Mr. Nonchalant ain't so nonchalant anymore. Speaking of nonchalant, we see Rin getting blocked by a random Nigerian player who's trying to stop the path to the goal. But Nico sees more than that. Our Metavision boy asks if it's okay to leave this spot open, as the pass reaches none other than Mikage Reo. And it's time, folks. Let's go. This is what we've been waiting for. The master copy has finally got the ball. We knew he was too quiet in the past few chapters. Reo tells Nico nice pass, and Nico says go chameleon, as we see Kuso, Bello, Boa Bona, and Corey Kenshin, like you can't tell me this isn't him, completely astonished, with Kuso surprised that Isagi Yoichi isn't the starting point. Man, I'm telling y'all, Kuso literally is the #1 Isagi fan. But more than that, we see Reo dialoguing as the copy starts to load. And it's revealed Reo copied Bachara in this beautiful double spread. Like, words can't explain how happy I am seeing this. Our boy Reo just copied the guy who scored on Nigeria. At this point, Nigeria is actually beyond saving. If I saw this, I would have the exact same reaction as the 4 of y'all here. Let's just put up the white flags. The goalkeeper looks like he's fed up with this. Bachara is running alongside him as he asks if the copy is complete. We see Bachara and Reo moving right next to each other as the double Bachara formation debuts. I think I could shed a tear looking at this panel. Reo done stole Bachara's move, stole Bachara from Isagi, and now teaming up with the guy who eliminated Nagi. It's just too peak, and this is the exact moment Kuso realized there is levels to this. Words can't explain how he's feeling, because he just asks, what is that? I'm hella dead. Like, he can't even comprehend what he's looking at exactly. It might just be over for Nigeria. We went in with the same game plan, expecting a different result. Underrated everyone in Blue Lock but Isagi, and now the captain is bamboozled at what he's witnessing. The chapter begins with Reo and Bachara moving upfield, field, continuing off from their Bachara x Bachara formation. We see a Rayo Bachara, I'm just gonna call it Rayo Bachara because I don't really know what else to call it, easily weave a Nigerian defender and then pass it through to the actual Bachara. Bachara speaks in an emoji and starts doing ultra fast step overs. Got bro looking like Saitama out here. And 2 random Nigeria players start scrambling over to him, but we don't even know their names, so it's safe to assume that these 2 are gonna do nothing. Bachara flicks it over them because of course he can, it's 2 random players, and Rayo Bachara chest traps the ball. I'm so hyped seeing Rayo use copy here. Like, this is literally what we've been waiting for, folks. Kuso starts dialoguing, saying the real Bachara and a combo with a copy of Bachara. They can't respond to that so suddenly. And look at my man's face. This face right here sums up the state of the whole Nigeria game so far. He can't believe what he's seeing. Mind you, we're 5 minutes in, Bachara just scored, and now there's 2 of them making it upfield yet again. Nigeria, it's time to wrap it up, y'all. Kuso says this kind of data, a styleless play, freedom x technical, break through the center. As Rayo and Bachara put on a show trading passes with one another. Aboabona straight up says foul them if necessary, so we resulting to extreme measures now. Bello is most definitely crashing out, saying to stop them, and now Rin and Isagi join the fray, so it's pretty much GG's for Nigeria. Then the next panel is Isagi, Bachara, Rayo, and Rin running together. Oh my god. The smile on my face when I saw these 4 together, I think I was happier seeing this than my own birthday. Honestly, if I saw this exact panel right here, the Avengers legit pulling up, the Fantastic Four, I would probably make the same face as Kuso. I wouldn't even try to contest this, just let them score the point. And his face again! This is just too funny. Kuso's reaction is straight out of Home Alone. This is the exact moment he realized he ain't built for this. They have to be doing it on purpose at this point. Kuso has been shocked at every twist and turn. This game has just been a humiliation ritual for who we thought was gonna be the toughest on the squad. He explains that the double aces are breaking through the sides and that it's a seamless change in attacking variations. There's too many options to calculate. But I'm a little confused because didn't Kuso do his homework on BLUELOCK? Like, shouldn't he know they're all egoists wanting their own goal? He could have just watched the first episode, and if he didn't do that, Bachara just scored on him instead of passing. So I don't know why Kuso's first thought is always the double aces, like Bachara literally ignored them. And specifically Isagi. This guy is Isagi's biggest glazer, I swear. He says that BLUELOCK is unpredictable, asking what they're going to do next, and we see Rayo running with the ball. As the next page reveals Chigiri's face saying a copy change. That's right, folks. Rayo has copied Chigiri Hyoma. I used to pray for times like this. We're seeing his master copy training of all players finally pay off, as Kuso is stunned that it's not a pass but a shooting lane with his movement. Yet again, Kuso is stunned. I think I'm gonna start keeping a tally at this point because this is not a good look for you, dog. Bachara didn't pass, so why are we expecting Rayo to as well? But as Rayo uses form Chigiri, he kicks the ball using the 44 Panther snipe. It goes past Bello, and it goes past Kuso, who's confused. I mean, what else is new at this point? And as we see the ball going towards the goal, we're left in anticipation, wondering if a certain someone is going to block it, or if Rayo is gonna score the second goal. The goalkeeper goes for it, and it's finally revealed Rayo scored the second goal of the game. He hits a fist clench celebration, and let's go, y'all. I'm so hyped. I've been wanting a Rayo goal for so long now. This is how we are all feeling. Rayo ends it off saying he'll win on his own. Yes, sir. That is my GOAT. This is the development we needed for him. The full egoist Rayo is here. I think everyone already knew that Rayo had a lot of potential, so to see him finally reach it on the big stage is so satisfying. He may even go up a few ranks now, and I'm sure we'll see more of him because we got so many other copies. When will he ever use the Fukakugen copy? The world may never know, but you get the point. Kuso this whole time is starting to wonder if BLUELOCK is really this strong, and the commentators start hyping up the goal with the crowd erupting. This guy's face was all of us. We even got a direct recall to Chigiri's 44 Panther snipe and even see his reaction and laughing to it. But if I'm Chigiri, I would be a little pressed. Bro just stole your whole development from the NEL. But I guess we're in the lead, so no big deal. The other commentator says Japan is now in the lead 2-0, and we see Nigeria's reaction. Obviously, everyone in shambles. Bello got his hand on his head, so that's when you know it's serious. He says that was brutal. Aboabona asks, isn't Japan too strong? Kuso is just speechless, to nobody's surprise, and now the thought of losing is bigger than ever. Aboabona says this is the world's wall, the world's standard. Despair sets in, and as they believe all hope is lost, one person stands strong. Onazi says, doesn't that sound good? It's because they crushed it that they made it here. Kuso looks up, surprised, a glimmer of hope in his eyes, wondering what Onazi means as he says, we are connected through football. A big smile across his face, one that shines on the others as he says, we're a family, right? The strongest in the world. Okay, so Dom Toretto for real influence Onazi. Motivational speech aside, we get a flashback to their origins from 12 years ago. We're at the Nigeria orphanage where we see a little Aboabona and Bello playing football, Onazi sitting in the corner of the room, and Kuso looking at him. Onazi just got here, and Kuso speaks out to him, asking why he hasn't gotten along with anyone else, and Onazi hits him with the fattest side eye in fiction. Kuso tells him being alone forever isn't fun, and asks if he wants to play football together, as he gets no response from Onazi. So he opens up about how his parents passed away too, and that's why the guys here are sort of his family. Everyone is the same as him. But Onazi just turns around to the corner and doesn't say a word, so Kuso gets fed up and tells Onazi to just keep on living that lonely life then. All of a sudden, Kuso gets hit in the back of his head and turns around angrily to see Onazi throwing a tantrum, saying he's not lonely. Even though their backstory is serious, this is kind of wholesome and funny. Even Kuso chimes in saying that's what someone lonely would say, which rage baits little Onazi even more as he shouts he's not lonely at all. He hits the dash past little Kuso and then straight up hits Bello with an almighty push, who's hella confused at what's happening, by the way, and I don't even blame him. Bro teleported from the room with Kuso straight over to y'all. He be doing this in the Nigeria game too, so yeah, superpowers is real, guys. Onazi has teleportation. Aboabona got the wide eyes just as lost and asks Onazi if he's picking a fight, and the emotional Onazi locks in as he weaves both Aboabona and Bello with maximum efficiency. Kuso is surprised to see Onazi is that good, and this guy Onazi jumps up off of Aboabona's face like he in Super Smash Bros or something. Nah, if I was Aboabona, I would hold on to that beef for the rest of my life. Keep bringing it up. Full grip on my face would cause generational warfare. I don't care if we're 5 years old. As we see, Onazi gets some mad air and Aboabona damn near get 200 pumped. They ask what his name is, and he responds Onazi as he scores a goal, and the boys come in to celebrate with him, saying, nice to meet you, Onazi. I'm a sucker for wholesome backstories in animes, and this is definitely one of those. The flashback ends, and as Onazi stands there, he's reminded that they are his new family. I really don't know how anime characters get convenient memories and flashbacks from 12 years ago. I can't even remember what my last meal was. How he remembered these exact details word for word like it was yesterday. Like I said though, Onazi is standing on the pitch aura farming while down 0-2. Like it's right there, bro, on a big screen. We can't ignore the big 0-2 in our faces. He says, believe me, it's okay because I'm here, and this re-motivates everyone somehow. Aboabona nods his head. Bello is smiling for the first time since the start of the match, and Kuso, I still fully believe he thinks we're cooked. He looking at that scoreboard. At the bottom of the page though, we see a little text box that says, you're not okay, as Isagi appears saying, standing before you right now, I'm here. Isagi got one page in this whole chapter, and he's somehow still aura farming. Like literally, they even gave him a close-up of his face. And still stealing Onazi's signature line, mocking him even, being that obstacle for him. And I'ma be honest, Nigeria is still thinking the exact same way, relying on Onazi, just now were smiles and sunshines after his motivational speech. So really nothing changed, except a positive mental attitude. Onazi got to figure out an actual plan against Isagi instead of smiles, because this is the exact reason why we down another point in the first place. The chapter ends off though with Isagi saying this and Onazi looking at him, smiling at the Demon King in his path. It might be time for his awakening, folks. The chapter kicks off with Japan's crowd erupting after Ryo's goal, which is exactly how we all felt, yes, you and me. And then the announcer saying Japan is making a statement scoring 2 goals. We see the clock and all of a sudden there is 10 minutes remaining, which is mad confusing because Bachara scored in the first 3 minutes and then Ryo got the ball right after and scored in another minute. And now we got Nigeria with the ball. So I don't know how the hell 35 minutes passed logically. Stephen Strange had to have used the time stone, but realistically, they're probably just speedrunning the games to get to the other matches. Anyways, Nigeria restarts with the ball as the final 10 minutes begins. Onazi passes it to Kuso, who says he understands everything up to this point, and that out of all the matches they've played, BLUELOCK is definitely the strongest. I feel like all Kuso has done in this match is literally glaze BLUELOCK, and that's about it. Like 35 minutes have passed and he's had some Looney Tunes performance as the captain. He talks about how the source of BLUELOCK's power lies in these 3, as we see a depiction of Isagi, Karasu, and Aiku on the pitch. Basically, the brains behind BLUELOCK are analyzing their tactics with intelligence and logic. They can read the dangers on the field and break through anything while controlling it. Kuso's analysis, even though it's right, has had 0 impact so far. We are still down 0-2. We needed this analysis before the game. The NEL was only $1. We could have watched their games beforehand. It's nice to see the Metavision boys getting their praise though. They usually fly under the radar when you got other players scoring goals and whatnot, so everyone is getting some appreciation somehow, some way. He then brings up the rest of the squad, basically giving all of BLUELOCK their props, from Bachara and Chigiri all the way to Nico and Aryu. Anyways, Kuso talks about how the one player keeping this chaotic, circus-like team together is without a doubt Isagi Yoichi, and oh my god guys, Kuso is actually a D1 glazer. Every single opportunity is him praising Isagi. I swear, his own team can score a goal and he'll still be glazing Isagi somehow. He's literally on some Phase K timing. You're insane, Jarvis. Let's be clear here, folks. Isagi do be deserving the glaze though, and I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I haven't contributed to this. With 10 minutes left though, Kuso is feeling the pressure and making another shocked or surprised face, and basically says we have to stop Isagi or else we're gonna lose, which is the highest compliment a player can receive, by the way. Kuso is literally dokes. He knows Isagi is the problem, but he can't prove it because he's trash. Man, he literally hasn't done anything to help. We see the pass land to Onazi, and I swear this is the only Nigeria player locked in because he got that game time face. Nigeria might just be Onazi and the trash can friends. We then jump to another backstory for Nigeria though, with Bello saying Onazi is amazing and asking if he played football before, because in the last chapter he scored that goal mixing up Aboa Bona and Bello. He says that it was his first time playing, which is actually crazy, like Onazi putting up some prime Nagi Seishiro numbers right here. I only started 6 months ago, head-ah. You'd expect him to be like the kids Bachara was teaching. Kuso, all happy, says that Onazi is a genius, and Aboa Bona says he's amazing, continuing that with him on their side, maybe they can even go pro. While this is going on, we see Onazi with Chigiri on him get a pass to Bello, where we see a kid version of him all happy and jolly saying, yeah, let's dream big and win the World Cup. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all, as much as Nigeria is getting cooked, Kaneshiro be showing us their hopes and dreams. Like this for real making me feel bad. Aboa Bona even brings up if they do it, they could beat these monsters and become filthy rich. As we see Kuso say, of course, they can get anything and go anywhere. Bello jumping ecstatically, talking about how they're gonna take charge. But Onazi says, no, it's not that easy. Becoming a pro is insane. But Bello and Aboa Bona are just saying it's fine because you're here, Onazi. And even Kuso chips in, agreeing that him being there makes him think on a whole nother level. Kuso adds on that Onazi here makes him feel like it's okay to dream, saying he's a genius, the chosen one, our shining hope. It's no wonder why Bello, Aboabona, and Kuso believe in this guy so much. They've been Onazi followers since day one, literally day one. He put on a masterclass with no experience and they decided to become his merchants. And Onazi says the thing, his signature line, "I'm here," as he's surprised that he's seen so highly in the others' eyes. And like I said, this backstory is hitting even more now that they're getting pieced up. We see some newspapers about Onazi, with one of them even saying Nigeria New Generation, but I don't think it's referring to the New Generation 11 because they would have stated that at the start. And then we get the reveal of the boys being the U20 Africa Cup champions. This celebration is low-key hype as hell. You got Onazi screaming, Kuso smiling for probably the first time, and everyone celebrating. If I recall, Morocco has a New Gen 11 as well, or at least it was shown on that one panel supposedly showcasing them all, so it's pretty impressive that they beat them and their New Gen 11. But all of that kind of gets thrown out of the window when you remember they're down 2 goals, and apparently there's only 1 minute left of additional time. We time skipped again. What happened to the other 9 minutes? Kuso says we'll decide it here with Onazi's extraordinary talent and mindset, but above all, in the air, Onazi can enable his natural jumping abilities, as we get a callback to his previous feats in this match. I knew it. The first chapter of this game, we had him soar to new heights with this 40-inch vert. As a little kid, I knew that must be his secret weapon. As Kuso passes, he manages to get it through Karasu, who looks stressed as hell, and Aryu, who trying to look majestic, but he says the ultimate reason Onazi plays as a striker is because he's able to shoot mid-air, meaning his shooting range is doubled. We see Isagi get on him, and Onazi straight up says, "I'll beat you," as he's left in front of the goal against the people's go, Gagamaru. Gagamaru all about that though, because he just says, "Bring it," and when you got Gagamaru saying something like this, you just know your shot's getting blocked. And then we get Gagamaru's flashback to his note from Ego, saying that he's still fighting by relying on prayer. So he needs to build the body of a goalkeeper, experience the special knock training. As we see a baseball pitching machine start hurling balls towards Gagamaru, and since it's faster and smaller than a regular football, his reaction time improves. He says he feels like his coordination between his eyes and body have become 1.5 times faster, and to let his body remember this feeling. We jump back to the present though, and we see Kuso screaming, saying, "Come on, our light of hope," as Onazi gets a shot off past Isagi. I know Isagi is ducking a little too, but are we seeing the air Onazi is getting? Bro legit jumped up to Isagi's head height. What the hell? The second part of the page though, we see the ball going towards Gagamaru, and he talks about how the ball is a trajectory that rises while escaping. His body is moving on its own, but it's slower than the baseball practice shots, which FYI is absolutely crazy to say. Like, I get that it's true, but it was just practice, dog. That's just mad disrespectful. So at this current moment, we got Onazi and Nigeria's backstory versus Gagamaru's baseball training backstory. They're both competing for a goal or a block. Gagamaru says a shot like this has no chance getting past him, as Gagamaru deflects the ball and saves the goal, proclaiming himself as Japan's guardian god. Oh my god, he did it, y'all. We won the backstory war. This just proves 2 things that we already knew. Gagamaru is the GOAT and Nigeria is a bunch of bums. I genuinely can't even believe what I'm seeing. You'd expect after 2 goals and being the U20 Africa Cup champions, they would score at least 1. But now it's looking like a Mickey Mouse win. We've done nothing. Not even a backstory could save them. I don't even know anymore, man. This is just a humiliation ritual. We need to switch everything up. This is confirmed the end of the first half. Kuso is looking shocked, but the grass is also green. What else is new? He's been having this exact same face for the past 5 chapters. Probably a good thing that it's halftime for Nigeria. They can actually cook up a strategy in the halftime instead of just glazing Isagi. The Nigeria coach needs to put on the performance of a lifetime to make this comeback, but he's nowhere near Ego's level, so I don't know how he's gonna do it. In fact, I don't even think he's gonna appear. It wraps up with Japan's guardian god, fire nickname by the way, taking some time to aura farm, saying leave it to me, as we end the chapter on a 2-0 lead for BLUELOCK. The chapter picks up with the commentators screaming in hype on BLUELOCK's strength in both attack and defense, which is real as hell. Nigeria got completely shut out. We see see Gagamaru use Unlimited Void as his celebration for the block, and the embarrassing 2-0 lead for them. Like, this is not a good look for Nigeria. The first half ends and we jump over to the locker room where the boys are celebrating their lead. We see Corona, Nanase, and Raichi all hyped. This puts a smile on my face seeing the other characters. Corona says great plays out there, Nanase jumping for joy at Gagamaru's save, and Raichi turns into the Kool-Aid man for some reason. We see Fukakugen and Gagamaru hit the dap up of the century, and I gotta be honest, I think this is the first time we've seen Fukakugen say something. All of us know how big of a fraud he is already, I don't need to say more, but his dialogue is usually him responding to someone, not doing the one talking. This is actually a monumental moment. Fukakugen saying something. Aiku is here too and immediately starts giving advice to Nico and Ryu on how they're doing well but pushing too far up. They should pay closer attention to the defensive line coming into the second half. He really showing why he's captain, already working on what to fix for the next half. Nico says got it, but they can't hold back in ball disputes, and Ryu says same, I won't go easy in one-on-ones. So basically, we can expect more simple domains coming from him. Karasu jumps into the conversation and says we honestly should have scored another goal, which is true, but unfortunately for them, there was a 35-minute time skip in the match, so plot decided otherwise. If not, they would be up by 8-0. However, he calls out Shigiri and Hiyori specifically, saying they're focusing too much on crosses, and that they should try to take more shots on the goal. In other words, Karasu saying, you ain't no egoist. Shigiri all smiley tells him to shut it and just wait for the second half, which I gotta be honest, I'm smelling a Shigiri goal. I feel they put him on the opposite side of his 44 Panther snipe for a reason. We also haven't gotten a flashback to his training, although it was pretty straightforward for stamina. And then Hiyori says, yeah, Karasu, take more shots yourself. And this is just too funny to me. Like, he pulled the Uno reverse rage bait on him and it got Karasu pressed, because we see him angry in the next panel. We then get some Henri dialogue for the first time in a while, I feel, basically saying they're all prideful, even though we haven't set the second half strategy yet. Henri flashes a smile and says the boys are growing at an insane pace, which is true. I honestly feel like the boys post-NEL are super strong compared to teams like Nigeria, where at this point only Onazi is keeping up with them. She says we have to clear the group stage and declares that they will win, as we see her all happy on a BLUELOCK success so far. We then get our GOAT talking for the first time this chapter, and right off the bat, he's saying there's no point in winning if we play like this. Isagi explains that if they keep doing the same old thing, they won't grow, so that's why we're going to try something new in the second half. Let me break it down for y'all. Isagi is pretty much commanding the team, saying that we're trying something new, no objections. That number one got him feeling different, and he giving that PXG Rin treatment, nah, this win is too easy, let's start experimenting. This is just completely disrespectful on Nigeria's part, because what do you mean you're using them as testing guinea pigs? Karasu and Abachira are confused, asking what he has in mind, and he says we'll play a false 9 pushing in with the second and third lines. If it works, they'll have more options to attack. Maybe this even means potential substitutions. I mean, if there is a perfect time for them to sub, it would be now, so maybe we see some new players. Yet again, level-headed Aiku brings up how it sounds interesting, but what about the risk that they will take? Shouldn't they hold the score till the end, with that being valuable experience too? But Isagi just says, let's just do both then, try new things, and make sure we secure the win. Which is just like the Isagi Yoichi we know. Making it work no matter the options, that's our mastermind. We then get the smartest talk in BLUELOCK as Aiku, Nico, Karasu, and Isagi, the Metavision boys, start discussing about the game plan. Aiku just says that's the spirit, egoist, with Nico saying it's easier said than done. If they try new attack ideas, that means they'll have to adjust the defense too. So Isagi says, okay, we'll just fix that too and talk to Ego. And Karasu just reacts saying, are you sure we can really change everything all of a sudden? Isagi's whole mentality is, don't worry about it, I'll fix it. I'm wondering if the defense adjustment would be a substitution too. I've been saying Raichi would be perfect for marking Onazi and would also be hype seeing new players and maybe their trainings. In the corner though, we see someone say I'm in, and it's none other than my king Itoshi Rin, saying just winning isn't enough for him. And yeah, bro, we already got the memo in PXG when you gave up a free goal. He continues that he'll crush them in a new way and that he hasn't even scored yet. time to stop pretending to be a nice guy. I'm not gonna lie, Rin is my favorite character, but some of the stuff he says comes off as the most corny lines in existence. Like, if anyone else but Itoshi Rin said this, it's something you would make fun of. Even then, it's like a no more Mr. Nice Guy dialogue. I can't keep defending you like this. Isagi is glad Rin's on the same wavelength though, and Aiku says, well, the two egoistic stars, as we finally jump over to the Nigeria locker room, which is what I'm interested in. What the hell are they going to do to come back? You can see all of them exhausted down in the slumps and just completely demotivated as Bello straight up says we can't beat them. Now, normally, I would say, where is your motivation at, Bello? But at the same time, with a first half performance like that, I would start thinking realistically too, we can't beat them. Aboabona says, we keep it up like this, we'll lose, and a random Nigeria player asks, what should we do in the second half, coach? As the Nigeria coach is finally revealed and he low-key got the clean fit on, coach says isn't BLUELOCK impressive and that they can set up plays all over the field and still score goals. And then he just says, truly impressive, Isagi Yoichi. Like, where did this dialogue even come from? They really treating Isagi like he's Heisenberg, the Thanos of the football world? Kuso must have gave a word to coach because this level of glazing is only rivaled by him. Imagine seeing a double Bachara formation and the only dialogue you have is truly impressive, Isagi Yoichi. Like I said though, I can't say much because I've glazed Isagi like this before too. He then looks up and says we haven't been able to play at all so far, and that Onazi hasn't been able to play, so even the coach is relying on Onazi. And what is bro even helping us out with? Tell us some strategies, what we should improve on. Not telling us what we already know. Talking about some they can set up plays everywhere, Isagi is the single best thing to touch football, and we haven't been able to do anything. We already knew that. Onazi with a towel on his head says that this has never happened before. Bad news. As Kuso takes off his glasses in despair, Bello and Aboabona stare at him with concerned looks on their faces, and he says this is it, a World Cup, as it's safe to assume Nigeria has accepted their loss. But Onazi smiles wide and says BLUELOCK is a beast, shocking Bello and Aboabona as they can't believe he's smiling in a dire situation like this. He says in the second half, that guy will be there, Isagi Yoichi will be there. Okay, everyone just took the Isagi Yoichi pill at this point, and Kuso is surprised again. We get a breakdown from Onazi though, asking everyone why do they think Japan is so strong, with Bello saying they can attack in many ways, and Aboabona saying they're all going for goals. Onazi agrees and says every single one of them lives for the goal. But before we get any more of Nigeria's strategy, we hop back over to Japan's locker room, and the real coach is giving a speech now. Ego asks the players why do they think people say I want to win, and for the Barou, Kunigami, and I guess Sendo fans, we get an appearance from them as well. Bachara responds to Ego saying because winning feels good, and Ego asks why does it feel good. So Isagi says because that way you prove your superiority to others. Shido even appears and agrees with Isagi, and Ego talks about how the instinct is carved into their genes. They have to show their superiority in order to survive in both food ways and I guess reproductive ways too. They even gave a whole description to this, which I find pretty funny, but Ego continues that BLUELOCK exists precisely to draw out the survival instinct and create the strongest individuals in the world. So after his biology and philosophy lesson, we go back over to the Nigeria locker room, and Onazi declares that he wants to be BLUELOCK and suggests that they try playing like them, each of them going after the goal. Bello says they can't score like Onazi though, and he jumps up saying that doesn't matter, let's give it a try. You can just see the passion because bro got his arms out and everything proclaiming this. He asks if it's okay with the coach, and he says if you're the one saying it, Onazi, then let's take the challenge head on and crush them. And can I just say, this coach is the biggest fraud. All he did was stare at his damn tablet and let Onazi do all the work. I can do his job. You can do his job. This guy is not a coach. We're gonna have to put him in the Hall of Fame of BLUELOCK frauds, up there with Wakatsuki, Fukakugen, and Tokimitsu, because Onazi is the forward, the defender, the coach, the team motivator, at this point the captain, because Kuso has proved nothing. And I'ma be honest, we're copying a strategy we've never done before against a team whose whole life has been training that way. We're not going to be able to go more offensively than a team that's built on offense. Before the halftime ends, though, we pick back up with Ego explaining that if all humans were guided by only their instincts of wanting to win, then conflicts would arise and wars would never end. So to prevent that, humanity created laws so everyone is treated equally, which led to people being able to live without that instinct, which humanity calls peace. To put it into simpler terms, if people are not competitive, they'll just stagnate and stay in the same place, which is peaceful, but in Blue Lock, they want to become the best. So that's why Ego kept appealing to that competitive instinct, so that their burning desire doesn't get swallowed, including himself. The second half is about to start though, and we see a newly motivated Nigeria walk out with Onazi leading the charge. I gotta say, even if they lose, Onazi has really proved himself as a D1 aura farmer. He kind of just got a Mickey Mouse team. We see Isagi walking out as well, as Ego says Blue Lock was built to rip away those who got too comfortable. And I gotta say, I think he's talking about Nagi here. And to reveal their instincts, even adding that he'll grant them a new formula. Ego asks, do you know why football has such a power to captivate people? As we see Isagi and the kickoff start, as the chapter ends off on a cliffhanger for the second half. The chapter begins with some Ego dialogue over the Master Strikers asking a few questions. Do you know why football has this much power to entrance humanity? And you just know when the chapter starts off with some Ego dialogue, the Blue Lockers are about to go through another evolution, which I don't think Nigeria can handle at the moment. We see the kickoff for the second half as Isagi passes to Rin, and Ego continues that regardless of birth or wealth, with just a single ball, anyone in the world can freely begin playing football. Rin then hits the quick weave on two Nigeria defenders as Kuso and Bello rush to him, with Ego saying that's what undoubtedly connects the massive number of people who play this sport. Its true essence is far more primitive. After all, the origins of sports is in hunting, where we see Itoshi Rin get past both Kuso and Bello in non-destroyer mode. So a casual 4-man dribble coming from Itoshi Rin. Ego talks more about hunting and how people tested their skills in martial arts and physical abilities for chasing prey. At their root, all sports originate from the act of acquiring prey. Sports originate from the basic acts of creatures trying to live. That's why our heart that is fascinated by the sport. As we see a Boabona take on Rin in a one-on-one, stopping bro right in his tracks got him looking mad surprised, stealing the ball from Blue Lock's number 1. Oh my god, Nigeria is actually doing something. Unfortunately, it had to be on my boy Rin, but a Boabona giving Nigeria their first chance pretty much. We even see the Nigeria crowd cheering for probably the first time in this match, because what else could they have cheered for with their first half performance? A Boabona says, "Let's go," Nigeria's counterattack as he passes the ball while holding back Rin. And y'all, this is not a good day to be a Rin fan. The Destroyer mode merchant allegations just became 10 times stronger. But anyways, we see the pass get to Kuso, who has Bachira marking him, as he compliments a Boabona's pass and ducks the fade with Bachira immediately giving it to Bello. Bello says, alright, don't just pass to Onazi, which was their new game plan going into the second half, as he runs away, weaving Karasu and screaming he'll score himself. Now, what exactly are we doing, gang? Screaming out your whole game plan is not the play. We acting like bro ain't right behind you, ears wide open listening. And what do you know, Karasu hears his change of tactics and tells him don't even dream of scoring while getting back to defend him. Yeah, you did this to yourself, bro. Acting all surprised like we didn't just give the enemy the step-by-step play on what we were gonna do. He now has no choice but to pass the ball to a new Nigeria player, Sadiq. Now, I know the question on everyone's mind is, who the hell is this guy? Team Nigeria really out here relying on NPCs now? How cooked are we? But to that, I say, let Sadiq cook, y'all. He's about to put on a masterclass. Rayo calls out he's attacking solo, and Shigiri says adapt to him, as Sadiq screams out they'll be selfish too, Blue Lock, as he runs in a 1v2 against Shigiri and Rayo. Yo, low-key, the confidence you gotta have to run the fade against Shigiri and Rayo, of all people, is actually crazy. Sadiq may just be the secret weapon Nigeria needed. Rayo and Shigiri go for the quick two-piece on Sadiq, who loses the ball unfortunately, but still manages to get a pass off. This is the first time we've seen an NPC do something in Blue Lock, and unironically, this feat puts Sadiq above Kuso. Because realistically, what has Kuso done in this match? Besides being shocked at every Blue Lock play, glazing Isagi, and giving 10 different analysis talks that have provided no help, he's only dribbled past Bachara and got one pass off. So Sadiq's 1v2 is literally more impressive. While this is going on, Ego is dialoguing on how the sport called football forms teams, exchanges wills, corners praise, and delivers the final strike. Nothing less than the evolved form of group hunting. In other words, Blue Lock has turned into the outdoor boys where it's all about hunting. I don't even know at this point. We kind of lost the plot, but I'ma just believe whatever Ego says. Onazi gets the ball from Sadiq, and big ups to the boys. Like, Sadiq legit did more in 2 pages than Kuso's whole career, and Onazi for grabbing the ball. Peep the awareness on Isagi though. He sees Onazi and starts running towards him, and this forces Onazi in an uncomfortable spot. You can just see the concern on his face. Ego talks about how the striker is the one at the very front line, avoiding the enemy's gaze. They are the ones who deliver the fatal strikes to the prey, which ties into this beautiful double spread of Onazi with a hunter aura going against the mammoth or beast that is Blue Lock or Gagamaru. Honestly, I can't even explain this panel. This is just a majestic panel. We bringing back extinct animals in a football manga? Aryu and Aiku are here to say none of that though, and block his shot course. So Onazi smiles and ends up passing the ball away. And this has Aryu flabbergasted. I have never seen bro with a more concerned look in his eyes, surprised that the ace passed at the last moment. Aiku sees this and smiles, saying it's quite unexpected. This guy really out here smiling at something not going according to plan. However, Kuso of all people jumps into the fray as the pass goes towards him, and Onazi shouts out for him to go do it. And I'ma keep it a buck, everything is riding on Kuso here. He has done a whole lot of nothing in the past few chapters. If he fumbles this shot here, the opportunity to finally get some points on the board for Nigeria, then he will forever cement himself in the Hall of Fame of frauds. We see him get into a shooting motion, everything on the back of Kuso, and it gets blocked by Itoshi Rin. Oh my god, when they needed him the most, he fumbled yet again. Kuso needs to hang up the cleats, man. This is just humiliating at this point. What beef does Kaneshiro have against Kuso? This guy is treated like a ragdoll, a punching bag. You would think he personally did something to Kaneshiro's family for him to be treated this way. The random NPC in this chapter had a bigger impact than Kuso here. That is a new low in Blue Lock. When you thought he couldn't disappoint anymore, he somehow does. Rin getting his get back from earlier in this chapter when he got the ball stolen, and we are back to strikers blocking the shots, which is kind of unnecessary. We have defenders for a reason. Apparently, Nico is just MIA, so I guess Rin has to do his job, and he was also on the other side of the pitch, so bro be teleporting somehow. He on some Onazi timing. Kuso's face is actually priceless. He's shocked, which should come to nobody's surprise. He's had the same face since the start of the game. And Rin takes a page out of Isagi's book, straight up telling him his desire to score wasn't enough. Too soft, you four-eyed cornrow nerd. He just called Kuso a fraud striker and then started roasting his looks for absolutely no reason. It's time to wrap it up. Kuso just needs to get on the bench. There is no recovering from this. The Japanese fans start celebrating at the defense as the ball goes in the air, and Ego says that's why humans drawn to this simple ball strive to live, feel the primal drive of life, and are captivated by this instinct. Aiku spots the ball in the air, and not a moment being wasted, hits the dash, activating his Metavision eyes. Bello ain't even got time to react before Aiku started moving. The worst case scenario is Blue Lock getting possession again, and a Nigeria player tries to prevent that by getting on Aiku, but he just headers the ball away and it lands to none other than Isagi. Yeah, it's actually never been more over for Nigeria. The one person they didn't want getting the ball the whole match now has the ball. After you guys fumbled, the only attack y'all gonna get. Ego says this is football's equation of passion, and just when you thought it couldn't get any worse for Nigeria, Isagi calls out to Rin, and Rin says, "Let's go, Isagi." So now y'all got Rin and Isagi teaming up, the #1 players of BLUELOCK. I know it's only the halfway mark, but yeah, just accept the loss at this point and move on. The rest of the match is unnecessary. Just give up. Ego tells them to go hunting, hunters who dream of being the world's best. Go prove that you are heroes, as Isagi and Rin start making their way up. But wait a damn minute, how is Rin right beside Isagi? Wasn't he just on defense blocking Kuso's shot? Kinda sure we're not even hiding the teleportation at this point. Anyways, we see Isagi's puzzle piece aura as well as his meta vision activate, so it may be time for his first goal of the U20 World Cup, y'all. The chapter picks up with a little flashback of Isagi's game plan during the halftime. If you guys remember, they wanted to change their strategy and test out new patterns, pretty much using Nigeria as a guinea pig. Isagi says what we're going to do is not have everyone build up when we counter like before. With him and Rin exchanging passes as the focus, they'll break through the center so that the other BLUELOCK members can score for their own goal. And we immediately see a beautiful double spread of a metavision field with Isagi and Rin moving up and all the other BLUELOCKers looking and getting ready to attack too. Yo, it's been so long since we've seen an Isagi and Rin chemical reaction, literally back in the U20 days, so this is just nostalgic to see. They on that Yuji and Toto timing. The Nigeria members start panicking at BLUELOCK's newest play, saying that they haven't seen it before, as Rin blocks Kuso and gets a quick pass to Isagi, who 1-2s it back to him. Nigeria is surprised that the two aces are countering together, and yeah, it's time to wrap it up, folks. We couldn't even handle BLUELOCK when they weren't working together. How we gonna handle them with the two best players wombo comboing? To make matters worse, we see Rin about to receive the ball with a 30-day-ago flashback. So on top of this play, Rin is getting a power-up flashback. I would just resign the game if I was Nigeria, call it quits. We pick up with Rin's monk training from 30 days ago, where the monk tells Rin to empty his mind and draw up an image of nothingness in his heart. As Rin repeats after him, trying to clear his mind, a hand reaches out of the cup and Isagi and Sai pop up. So yeah, bro couldn't clear his mind. This might just be the hardest training in BLUELOCK because this is coming from the same guy who was crashing out going after only Isagi in the PXG game. I know we had Sendo in the battlegrounds for his training, but for Rin specifically, this is the hardest task known for him. Isagi in Rin's mind says, I'm #1, and Sai in Rin's mind just says lukewarm or tepid. And this obviously agitates Rin, and then he gets whacked by the monk again. This was funny the first time it happened, and is just as funny now. The monk keeps telling him, no earthly attachments allowed, calmness, truth, and discipline. Let go of his obsession and focus on the true him within. Usually, this is some really good advice, but like I said, for Rin, this is the hardest task ever, and even he knows that because with veins popping out of his head, he thinks letting go of that desire of crushing Sai and Isagi is impossible. As he continues to meditate, he reflects that without Sai and Isagi, he wouldn't be who he is today. And why this guy Isagi always pulling up as a phantom? He really living rent-free in Rin's, Barou's, and Nagi's mind? We get flashbacks from Rin's career throughout BLUELOCK, saying that if his true self is within him, the raw urge to destroy Isagi inside that he's found within himself is, I want to score a goal as I destroy myself. As the flashback ends and Rin says everything that gets in the way of that instinct is an attachment. I know that was a little all over the place, but in a nutshell, Rin's evolution is all about focusing on not just Isagi and Sai, but being able to activate destroyer mode without them. And oh my god, a permanent destroyer mode Rin who doesn't need Isagi or Sai to activate it sounds like Thanos. It's literally the final boss. This is honestly the best development he could possibly have. Ego really cooked on his assignment because if you recall, Sai's biggest complaint with Rin was that he was using him as an excuse to play. Now that he's found his true ego, he's 1, able to activate destroyer mode at any time, and 2, Sai will most likely acknowledge him. Finally, because he's no longer using him as an excuse to play. Anyways, we return to the present where Rin hits a pass before Mr. Clean can get to him, and Bachara gets the ball saying, let's go for one more goal. Now, Ego starts getting some dialogue saying, that's right, you lumps of talent. Football is a human's instinct to hunt, and strikers are the heroes that deliver the last blow to their praise. So this chapter basically connects back with what Ego said in the last chapter about hunting, and seeing that damn panel of a hunter versus a woolly mammoth. I don't know how he always does it, but Ego is a genius. With Bachara having the ball, he actually goes for the goal himself as a Boa Bona gets a brain damage blocking the shot, which ticks off Bachara. The loose ball keeps bouncing, and Hiyori, of all people, appears out of nowhere, and boom, another shot coming at you faster than you can say onomatopoeia. Last second, it gets blocked by the goalkeeper, and yeah, this is one of the first times a non-Gagamaru goalkeeper has blocked a shot. Hiyori fans, I don't think we will ever see a goal come out of this guy. He's just stuck as a pass bot like the rest of the cast. Call it Super Smash Bros though, because everyone is here as Chigiri runs for the ball, and you can just tell this new formation is working wonders for BLUELOCK. Everyone getting a shot attempt. Chigiri now goes for the shot, but Onazi uses instant transmission yet again to face block it in time. I'm not gonna lie, Nigeria actually putting up a good defense here with how many shots are going off. Bello shouts out, nice Onazi, as other Nigeria players are saying they're not done yet. If they don't get the ball, they can't stop them as the ball is flying in the air. Rin sees this as he starts mentioning his titles like brother, rival, and world's #1. The people that decided those rules are the attachments. Two Nigeria defenders try and block Rin, but he weaves them with a quick pass to Isagi on his side, as Rin dialogues that he'll redefine his desires. Don't put a stopper on his desire to destroy. This instinct isn't an irregular impact. This is gonna be the default. So yet again, Destroyer Mode Rin is the new normal Rin. Are y'all hearing this? Is anyone comprehending what we are hearing right now? Bachara says, gonna make a move now, you rampaging a beast to Rin. As the next panel reveals, Rin has activated Destroyer Mode against Nigeria. Not even sticking out his tongue too. Oh nah, Nigeria versus Destroyer Mode Rin. This is the equivalent of a hydrogen bomb versus a coughing baby. I may be glazing, but this is gonna be overkill. Guys, you gotta remember, this version of Rin got no regard for human life, and the look on Onazi's face just says it all. He ain't ever seen anything like this before. He calls out that Rin and Isagi are now changing courses, and we see every single BLUELOCKer start running towards the goal, trying to score themselves. Oh my god. I feel like a little kid on Christmas seeing this panel. This panel is up there with the day I was born. Every one of the BLUELOCKers trying to be an egoist. There is too much going on that Onazi is confused on where to stop them, and Bachara says he can see it as he goes for a pass with Bello on him. Rin is gunning for it with a Boa Bona trying to block him, and Isagi is running for it with Onazi on him. While the goalkeeper is commenting that the two twin aces are out, and peep the look on the goalkeeper's face, you can tell he doesn't ask for much in life and still gets disappointed. This is the 5th time the goalkeeper has had to do his job, compared to the one time Gagamaru has had to block. Big brain Isagi, though, points out that Rin is coming over, but the ball course is coming over here, so he's gonna reach it first, just as planned. So now we got Metavision Isagi versus Destroyer Mode Rin for the goal, and you can't even make this up. Isagi and Rin are fighting each other instead of Nigeria. That's just mad disrespectful. Like, Nigeria isn't even a threat, so now they're competing for the goal against each other. It's just BLUELOCK versus BLUELOCK at this point. As Metavision Isagi runs in, Rin uses Predator's Eye and says no. Isagi controls himself with logic. If he controls himself with logic, using himself as a tool to win, then he will put his all into pleasure and sell his soul for adrenaline, as Rin jumps off of Isagi's back to reach the ball first. What exactly am I looking at, folks? To be honest, I'm not even that surprised, because we've seen Rin clear a car before, but on the main stage is crazy. Isagi is just flabbergasted, and Ego says Itoshi Rin reached it, as Rin shoots and scores the 3rd goal against Nigeria. proclaiming himself as a hero fearless of death. Onazi's seen this with front row seats, by the way. A backstory couldn't help them. They're now down to 3-0. Yeah, it's officially over. Time to wrap it up. Another thing I need to point out, where is Kuso? We saw Aboabona get a block, Onazi get a block, and Bello at least tried to block Bachara, but we saw Kuso once at the start of the chapter, and then he decided to stop playing. Sadiq got more screen time. I cannot wait for the day I get to make a brutally ranking every player for this Nigeria game, because I'm about to have a field day with Kuso specifically. But anyways, this double spread is absolutely insane. We see the destroyer mode shot. My favorite character scored on the big stage, y'all, and dare I say this is his best goal in the series. Big ups to Bachara as well, because with this pass, he now has 2 assists on top of a goal. Being a part of every single play so far, by far the MVP of this match, and we gotta give props when props are due. Isagi calls Rin a pervert for whatever reason, and then asks hero or die as both of them start aura farming with this Spider-Man landing looking at each other. Rin says throw away his attachments and awaken his instincts as he sticks out his tongue, and BLUELOCK now leads 3-0 against Nigeria. The chapter begins with the announcers shouting a super goal, really getting hyped for Itoshi Rin's goal and Japan's lead. We see female Nanase, Rudius from Mushoku Tensei, and a Dr. Doofenshmirtz. Like, you can't tell me this guy ain't him. Everyone in the crowd getting hyped, as well as Bachara's mom and Isagi's parents. But not gonna lie, I'm kind of confused why we didn't see Bachara's mom hyped at her own son's goal. We only saw her reaction for Rin. Like, did we just forget? Also, where is Rin's parents? Did they get the milk? Both of the brothers are having a rivalry of a lifetime in front of Japan, and they're not stopping them or even celebrating their goals. They had other parents do it instead. Anyways, we immediately get this beautiful double spread panel of Rin and Isagi aura farming on the pitch with this unnecessary face-off. The number ones literally turned this Nigeria match into a battle between themselves. The announcer talks about how Rin borrowed Isagi's back and managed to mesh their gears, leading to a 3-0 lead, with Isagi asking if Rin was aiming for that, and Rin, nonchalant per usual, just sighs and says, I was simply observing you, nerdy demon king. We see Rin's thought process of when Onazi came to block. Isagi would have switched to 2-gun to score the goal, so he had to snatch it before it happened and scored off the inspiration he got from that moment. I like how Rin is basically backhand complimenting Isagi, like he had full confidence Isagi was going to score, and he knew Isagi would pull out the 2-gun volley, because the same thing happened to him. He for sure got some PTSD. So learning from his experiences, giving Isagi his kudos while still getting the goal himself, that monk for real changed Rin's life, because we would have never seen this beforehand. Rin says he used his impulse to score that goal and surpass Isagi. Then when his brother comes over to the Japan U20 team, he'll challenge him as a striker and deny his existence completely. Yo, you would think the way Rin treats Sai, he eliminated his whole family lineage, he betrayed the family clan, but still, I'm so hyped to eventually see Sai and Rin. We've waited so long to see this. Isagi just scoffs and tells him, good, keep it up, he'll surpass even his wildest imaginations and grow stronger with those puzzle pieces. And that's what I like to hear from our boy, always on that unmatched work ethic. Bachara says, don't get all fired up with just the two of you. Chigiri says it's gonna be me next, and Karasu says it's me. Everyone showing their egos and whatnot. But not gonna lie, there's definitely an imposter in this panel. We jump over to Henri, and she's excited at the score being 3-0, saying they can win, and that this was supposed to be a tough match. Bruh, I think we all thought the same, that this game was at least gonna be sort of a challenge, but it's not even remotely close. Dare I say, this is one of the easiest games in BLUELOCK so far, and it's not even entirely because Nigeria is bad. Like, yeah, some of them are pretty bad, except a select few, but it's mostly because BLUELOCK is so damn overpowered. Imagine how much worse it would have been if they had Barou or Shido in the pitch too. She continues that each of the players are being active on the field, a perfect entrance plus points, even the newly founded formation is perfect. And then Ego chimes in, talking about how Itoshi Rin's talent and mentality to score fits the qualities of a hero born to be a striker. He is the possessor of that chosen special trait. Ego talking about Rin like how they talk about Gon and Killua in Hunter x Hunter, a 1 in 10 million talent glaze. But hey, Rin's consistently been the #1 in Blue Lock, so it makes sense that he's getting glazed. But Ego makes sure to not glaze too hard and says that there's not only one path to becoming a hero, and that making everyone strive for the path of a protagonist. While we see Ryu, Nico, Aiku, and Hiyori, that's the magic of Blue Lock that draws out their talent. Henri seems to agree, and with that, we see only 15 minutes left on the clock, which in other words means Blue Lock is just doing their victory lap. There is no way Nigeria is coming back now. We hop on over to Nigeria's side to get their thoughts on the 3-0, and for some reason, they all look tired. Dog, I hate to break it to you, but what have you been doing that requires this pose? All I've seen from this team is just a bunch of lollygagging and shocked faces. Even they're saying scoring 3 points in 15 minutes is impossible. Aboabona says that Japan is disgustingly strong, and Kuso got no words, bro. He's done talking. There is not a single ounce of thought going on in Kuso's brain. I just know he ran out of ideas because at the start of the match, he was analyzing every single thing to the minute details. All of a sudden, though, Bello says, but hey, isn't this match fun to everyone? And Aboabona responds with, everyone is aiming for their own goals selfishly, and that's new. Two random Nigerian players chime in saying this playstyle of not relying on Onazi completely is new and exciting, to which Bello says it's gonna be tough to win from now, but if we can even score once, one goal can change everything. Everyone's all smiles and sunshines though, besides Kuso and Onazi, who kind of both realize how cooked they are. Like, Kuso hits the fattest side eye, and Onazi just stands there in silence. You know it's bad when Onazi of all people ain't smiling. Out of nowhere, we see a foot though, and Isagi pulls up from the other side of the pitch to join in on the Nigeria conversation, telling them to stop, it's meaningless. Oh my god, he's here, y'all. The return of unhinged Isagi Yoichi. This is the first time Bello is witnessing it, and he's mad confused. I don't think he knows what's awaiting for him. Isagi straight up says, right now, you're simply no different from a temporary high while watching an interesting movie. He's being influenced by the characters in that movie and thinks they can live like that too. And look at the face on Isagi. He is dead serious and sick of that BS he's hearing coming from Nigeria's side. Talking about some we can still change and win. He couldn't tolerate it anymore and had to intervene himself. He continues that they think those are their true feelings, but they're only accepting the parts that fits them best. After they leave the cinema, they'll forget it the next day. That's instant ego. People won't change from that. Now, folks, I know Isagi is raining on Nigeria's parade, but is he wrong, though? I know, you know, nothing for the past 75 minutes have been working for Nigeria, so Isagi just got fed up with their fairy dust positive delusions. Kuso is mute, not saying anything, to nobody's surprise. Bello looks stunned, and Aboabona is pissed, asking Isagi what does he know about us. The rage bait was successful by Isagi. I just know he's smiling on the inside. And Isagi uses that in his own argument, saying it's because you refer to yourselves as we can change. What do you know about us? By making it into everyone's problem, they're running away from the true nature of the present. That mass psychology makes you stop thinking by allowing you to shift your own responsibilities away. We get some depictions on this whole psychology that if it's just your problem, then it's troublesome, but if it's our problem, then it'll work out, which is pretty much the school equivalent of how you feel if you did bad on a test by yourself compared to every one of your friends bombing the test together. Then you'll feel better about yourself. Y'all, Isagi really pulling out the philosophy, so that's when you know it's serious. He giving them a rundown play on why they're failing, like he's somehow doing a better job than their own coach. He even got the one finger up, like he's giving a college lecture. I'm hella dead. He continues that he's not saying this to you as a whole, he's speaking to each of them individually. Pay attention up here and think again with their own brains. How does it feel to play against Blue Lock? So in other words, he's saying y'all need to use your brains. Here's the thing though, this is one of the most condescending advice of all time. Like, he's not really wrong. They're playing bad, but damn, going to the other side of the pitch to give advice on how to play better, it's just disrespectful, man. Team Nigeria is just left in shock, except for one person who clenches his fist, and we see Onazi respond to Isagi, saying that it's frustrating and he doesn't want it to end like this. He acknowledges that the way he is right now, he doesn't think he'll ever be able to defeat BLUELOCK, gritting his teeth mad as hell. He's the only one taking this serious. Kuso in the little corner of the page is surprised at Onazi, and oh brother, when is this guy not surprised? This exact same panel, by the way, him saying Onazi's name with a shocked look on his face, is in every single chapter of the Nigeria match. Isagi responds to Onazi saying, yes, that's good. It's his wish to make memories with his friends, and Onazi says no. Isagi then says, is it the title of Nigeria's hero? And Onazi shouts, no, it's the world's #1 striker, which Isagi smiles and says, that's right. I kid you not, Isagi is literally giving a cheerleader pep talk before the curtain calls. What do we want to do? Win? When do we want it? Now? You can't make this up at this point. He tosses the ball back to Onazi and says, come destroy me. Come at me to change your lives, you egoists. Yo, Isagi is actually moving different. Nah, the confidence you gotta have to call out the enemy team on their buffoonery, give advice to the enemy team, and then motivate them to give it all they got against you? Pure cinema. I know Isagi fans around the world are geeking at this. We pick back up with Onazi catching the ball from Isagi, who smiles and says, you're huge, Isagi. That relentless ego, where did it come from? To which we see Isagi's aura eyes pop up as he turns around, puzzle pieces flying and all, responding that it was a curiosity to myself. Not only that, folks, we see Isagi's flow state eyes activate. And bro, Isagi, you don't need to be doing all of this. They're already down 3-0. The whole Nigeria team has contributed all the glaze for Krispy Kreme production with how they talk about you. You don't need to do this, gang. You don't need to give them even more reasons to. We get one last little message as the chapter ends off on a cliffhanger about Isagi's training from 44 days ago. It's time, folks, to find out what our boy really did for his training. The chapter begins with the announcers reminding us 15 minutes are left. We see the audience members getting hyped and the commentators telling us it's 3-0 again. This is like the 100th time they've repeated the score in this match. If I was a Nigeria fan, I would just head on out at this point because I wouldn't be able to take the constant reminders. All of a sudden, though, the ref shows that BLUELOCK has made substitutions and none other than Corona Ronse and Raichi Jingo take to the pitch. Oh my god, who expected this? This was a surprise and a half. We didn't see any subs during halftime, so I kind of thought we wouldn't see any in this match. But randomly, they are here, and I'm super hyped seeing the boys. Corona hits this Mario jump saying shark, and after 1,000 years, Corona fans are finally fed. Because let's be honest, PXG did him dirty. I've been predicting that Raichi would sub in this game because it just makes the most sense. He's able to mark Onazi, who is the only threat on Nigeria, and if Onazi can't play, then Nigeria would lose the additional hope they didn't even know they still had. Both these subs really do make sense. Corona will most likely combo with Isagi for the last goal, and Raichi can defend against an awakened Onazi. Ego even chilling in the back, knowing this was the smartest possible move. Raichi says, let's go. Raichi-sama, the match closer, steps into the field, and Corona repeats himself, saying, let's end it. But with both of them coming in, we see Hiyori and Chigiri get subbed out. Which is honestly a little surprising to me, considering we didn't see any of their training backstories. I thought someone like Aryu, whose training backstory was already done in this match, would get subbed off instead. They both did all right. I mean, they got some passes and both got a shot attempt, but by far, this is their worst showing in a match, which I don't think it's their fault. Like, it's more of the plot's fault for saying no to their goals and the fact that they also did good in every other match. And again, we didn't see either of their 44-day ago trainings, but one thing that's on my mind is Chigiri specifically. They gotta be saving it for the France match where we see him go head-to-head with Loki, and if that's true, we will be there in suits and ties ready to watch. Anyways, Ego says that the experiment ended, talking about the formation, and we see the new formation is a 5-4-1 with Rin up top. Henri says there is 15 minutes left, and Ego, with the fire dialogue, tells BLUELOCK to end them with a 0. Yo, in other words, he's telling BLUELOCK to make sure they stay embarrassed. I'm hella dead. The match restarts though, as we see Onazi pass to Kuso and Raichi running towards him. It doesn't really restart though, because we see Isagi and start getting his 44-day flashback. So yeah, talk about a bait. I thought we were about to see a Raichi versus Kuso matchup, which at this point is the equivalent to a hydrogen bomb versus a coughing baby. Kuso is so disappointing. Like, we for real thought he was gonna be half decent. He was just a nonchalant aura farmer when we first saw him. And then he turned into the shocked Glazer, which is a diabolical transformation if you ask me. Anyways, the flashback starts off with the note we saw before, telling Isagi to learn about football. The key to his next evolution is in there, and to discover it himself. We get a compilation of his training, watching the old VODs, him on a flight, and another game that's not the Spain match, while he dialogues that this training Ego tasked him with, the more he knows about the world of football, the more his values get revised and more expansive, as we see our boy in the crowd celebrating with other people in the audience. We also got a Mohamed Salah reference. This guy is so happy to see him in the manga. And I just have to mention, Isagi might have gotten the single best training in the BLUELOCK facility. Bro gets to travel the world, try new foods, watch football games, all the while Sendo is fighting in the trenches. Isagi smiles and says football is fun, interesting, and he wants to try it as soon as he gets back. This new version of him. And then the two kids are getting hyped watching the goal as well. One says he wants to be a football player, and the other says he's going for the Ballon d'Or. Isagi overhears this, and it reminds him of when he was a little kid. Yeah, guys, Isagi at 17 years old just had a back in my day flashback. But now we get a flashback inside of a flashback, and it begins with older Isagi asking why did he start playing football, and a little Isagi is just crying on the couch. He's crying over something scary, and a younger Isagi's mom comes to comfort him, asking what's wrong. He's crying, and then eases him, saying it was just a mosquito. A younger Isagi's dad is here too, and not gonna lie, they did a damn good job de-aging them. I know Isagi's mom got some people acting like Sanji, and Isagi's dad looks fresh. He was mogging in his prime. He mentions that Isagi is a scaredy cat of anything, and that he even cries to raindrops, wondering what that's all about. If y'all didn't know, this is sort of a callback to Isagi's light novel, where he was able to predict the rain because of his super senses. Now, I don't know if the light novel is canon, but that is a little crazy. Isagi low-key got superpowers predicting the rain. Isagi's dad suddenly remembers he has tickets though, and tells them let's go as a family, while little Yoichi asks where, and he says a football stadium. Isagi's mom asks if he's okay, and to tell them anytime he is scared, but Isagi's dad realizes he's surprisingly fine. And baby Isagi starts analyzing the game. Guys, we got baby Isagi feats now. He says that they're kicking a ball and it's an 11 versus 11 match to steal a goal. Isagi's always been like this, huh? I don't know if he is just the brightest kid ever, but at that age, I was not analyzing anything. In fact, it was quite the opposite. I was playing with sticks and stones. Isagi says at that moment, he feels like his brain has awakened, and this is how he got into football. The next panels show him wanting to try it, wanting to be there. He was stimulated by the so-called instincts of hunting that Ego mentioned. It's just more thoughts on him thinking that football was fun and that he wanted to learn more about it. He wanted to grow stronger today and tomorrow, and he became engrossed with himself. However, as he grew up, that feeling was fading and it was buried because of his old playstyle. As we see his bum old teammate and his bum old coach preaching about passing. Isagi then says after coming to BLUELOCK and meeting all sorts of egoists, showing a panel of Bachara, old Kunagami, Chigiri, Rin, Barou, Ryo, and Nagi, he finally realized something. That time, that true form of what he felt, the name of the passion that he lost, is called a curiosity to myself. Okay, I think this is the a millionth time we've been reminded of how BLUELOCK has changed Isagi's life. And yeah, it's kind of funny at this point because of how repetitive it is. He also repeated this same line in the last chapter, so we already knew this. But I can't really blame them because it's the first game of the World Cup, so they want to recap on his journey so far and connect the chapters together. Let's be real though, folks. If we were a regular high school student all of a sudden getting a 240 million yen because of BLUELOCK, I would talk about BLUELOCK like how Kuso talks about Isagi. The amount of glazing I would do would rival Daniel LaRusso. We jump back to the present though, and all of a sudden we see our boys Raichi and Corona immediately pressing Onazi and making him lose the ball. Raichi screams out saying he's not letting go, and Corona says it's his turn, pincer attack. That's what I like to see and hear from our boys. The sub's immediately doing something in this game, and Onazi is pissed. Just look at his face, gritting his teeth and all. When have we ever seen him mad in this game before the Isagi rage bait? That just tells you how fed up he is with this match. I mean, his whole team is filled with Mickey Mouse delusional players where he is the only person doing anything. All the while, he's getting trash talked by the enemy team, and specifically Isagi. Bello shouts out that it's not over yet. And I don't know what to tell you, bro. It definitely is, and that he'll steal it. However, we see Metavision eyes in the corner of the screen with Isagi saying, that's right, if he doesn't excite himself, who would wanna live his life? As Isagi steals the ball before Bello can. You can't be serious. Isagi now has the ball in the last 15 minutes with Metavision eyes activated. The score is already 3-0. Kaneshiro is making this game a humiliation ritual for Nigeria. Every single time you think it can't get worse for Nigeria, it somehow does. Because Corona is also here, so I assume a Planet Hotline is gonna make a return on the big stage. As Isagi makes his way up, he dialogues about his adaptability, his hopes on someone else, his pleasure, frustration, even his hopelessness. All of it, give it to him, football. And we get this beautiful last page of Isagi's aura eyes popping up and him smiling with all the puzzle pieces detaching. If this doesn't point to an Isagi goal, I don't know what will. The chapter ends off though with one final message from Isagi, who says that he wants to live on the battlefield to meet the new me. The chapter picks up with Isagi running upfield after stealing the ball, and the announcer shouting out that it's time for BLUELOCK's counterattack. Onazi is just staring at Isagi, still fixated on what he said earlier. You know, when he walked across the whole pitch to give the enemy team some advice. Or in other words, rage bait Nigeria into awakening. He repeats what Isagi says about curiosity to himself and asks if he can also live like Isagi Yoichi. And peep the game on Isagi, he just got past 2 defenders. So Isagi making quick work of the can't dribble allegations and passes to Bachira while screaming out if that's all Nigeria got. Yo, this guy just doesn't stop. The mid-play trash talk is crazy. This guy right next to Isagi is probably hearing this loud and clear too. He damn near right next to his ear. We see a shocked Onazi because Isagi's next dialogue is him saying if Nigeria wants to become the world's #1, try and surpass BLUELOCK. Try and surpass his brain. Nah, Isagi is genuinely insane. Like he's trying to make the enemy team motivated so that he can get stronger. And you know exactly who this sounds like? Noel Noah creating his rivals. You can't tell me they're not the same. And I know half of y'all are gonna be hyped at Isagi trash talking again, and the other half is gonna bring up that he hasn't scored in this game yet and still talking mad. So I'll let y'all hash it out in the comments. Anyways, we see Aiku, and even he calls out Isagi, saying that he's provoking them too much. Ego told them to keep them at 0, so why is he encouraging his opponents who are already down and out? Isagi then responds saying that it can become data, and that if someone awakens, he can experience football he never experienced before. In other words, he's using them for himself. Now, honestly, both sides are right here. You got Aiku, who's trying to follow directions and keep their score at 0, and Isagi, who doesn't care about the score, just about becoming stronger. He tells Aiku that if he can adapt and stop that egoist, wouldn't BLUELOCK be able to evolve too? And just look at Aiku's face. This guy's stunned. He got the full revelation that Isagi Yoichi is a greedy egoist who only cares about evolving. And honestly, we gotta give respect because that's the energy we need to become the best. Aiku says that they're still winning even if they score one and that there is only 5 minutes left. Yeah, another 10 minutes have passed since the last clock was shown. It's now between their awakening or their adaptability. Isagi then hits the dash, saying he leaves the back to you, Captain, and Aiku asks if Isagi is testing him too, saying he got it. And keep this part in mind for later because Aiku hasn't really done much in this match and we haven't seen his 44-day ago training, so I assume this is just foreshadowing for that. We jump back into the game though, and we see a Nigeria defender shouting to not free up the left side. Bachira is here now, weaving and using his dribbling, telling Ryo to go for another one, chipping it over this guy who you can tell just had a zero comprehension of what just happened. Ryo runs for it and tells Bachira a nice pass, but out of nowhere, a Boabona headers the ball away, saying that's the 3rd time. And I gotta give props when props are due. Boabona has been doing a good job stealing possession and whatnot. He even got Ryo shocked in the back. Bachira is surprised that Boabona read them, and he shouts out for the 2nd ball, and you can just tell bro is angry. He got the eye veins popping and everything. Like, he pulled out the Dragon Ball Crash Out scream for this one. The ball goes towards Karasu and Kuso though, and he says, "As if I'd let you, Mr. Ordinary," and Kuso says it's over here. So now we got a Karasu versus Kuso 1v1, and I can't believe my eyes because Kuso has stolen the ball away from Karasu. I don't even think Karasu can believe his eyes too, because the only thing he's done for the past 10 chapters is make a shocked face and just disappoint. I'ma be honest, folks, I'm a little sad that the Kuso slander can't continue because now he's actually doing something, but at least he's finally back to form, like from the first chapter where, you know, he was actually doing something besides glazing Isagi and being surprised. Onazi shouts out nice Kuso, and Kuso starts an inner monologue saying that Onazi has given them the hope to live known as winning the World Cup. And for like the 3rd time, we get another Nigeria flashback. 3rd time's gotta be the charm, right? There's no way 3 flashbacks can't get them a single goal. He starts off that being with Onazi is fun and like a dream. However, we see Kuso doing research and he tells Onazi that their recent data shows that there hasn't been much variation in their attacking patterns. Kuso with the Yuki Miya glasses, he looking clean, I can't deny that, tells Onazi that while they are winning, their scoring is slowly dwindling. There's a high possibility that they'd eventually reach a deadlock when the other countries hit us with their tactics. And y'all, am I hearing this right? Kuso literally predicted that the events of the Japan versus Nigeria match would happen because they're relying on Onazi too hard, and it came back to haunt them. So Kuso might have been the genius all along. But now it brings up a new question. If we know that relying on Onazi is bad, then why are we still doing it? Which gets answered because Kuso proposes that they stop putting Onazi as a forward alone and try recruiting a new member, even saying that's what the coach suggested. I'm surprised that this coach, who let Onazi do his job during halftime and Isagi do a better job than him during the match, even suggested anything in the first place. I thought this clipboard was a decoration. Onazi's response to Kuso though is him immediately asking what's going to happen to him though. What about a Boabona or Bello? And Kuso says that that's what a battle is. It comes with a competition for the regular spots. He adds that they've simply arrived at the point where they can't stay as they are, but Onazi cuts him off saying no, he doesn't want to play football without them. He then explains that he was lonely, he was saved by them, by all of them, and he wants to repay them who's become his family. He wants to bring them to the World Cup and win together. That's why they won't change the way they play. They don't need other players. And he says the thing, dropping his signature line, "I'm here." And although this is wholesome as hell, isn't Onazi sneak dissing them? Like, they could still play together on the same team. They just gotta win their spots as regulars. It's kind of funny, like Onazi, in other words, is saying, you guys are gonna get replaced, but I want to play with y'all, so we're not gonna recruit better players. I'm gonna just carry y'all and we're good. I get it's the whole family thing, but like, damn, bro, we could try new things. He's already assuming we're gonna get replaced. Like, no faith at all. Anyways, Kuso is just shocked at what Onazi is saying because what else is new? And he says that sentiment makes him so happy happy to hear, but that choice wouldn't it kill off his possibilities. Which ties in with the whole theme of this match for Nigeria. They have good reasons to stick together as family, following in the wise words of Dom Toretto, but they can only go so far, so it might come back to bite them, and obviously it did during this match. The flashback ends though, and as Kuso makes his way up, Bello and Aboabona are telling him to go, while Kuso talks about how he couldn't say anything because of Onazi's kindness, and that their purpose had shifted from winning the World Cup to being together. But now, it's being brought to light because of BLUELOCK, as Karasu, Reo, and Isagi stand in Kuso's way, which gotta be the last thing you want to see when you're trying to make a comeback. However, Kuso corrects himself, saying that no, Isagi Yoichi is the one who brought them to light. And oh my god, the Isagi glaze doesn't stop. Kuso gotta get a reward, bruh. A reward for the #1 Isagi glazer. Like, this one is kind of warranted because Isagi was the one who started giving a Coach Carter pep talk. But I swear, Kuso, every time he dialogues, asks himself how could he make it about Isagi. And that's the funniest thing in the world to me. Onazi asks for a pass, and Kuso says right here, at the hottest place in the world, he must leave them behind or they'll never advance. And I mean, props to Kuso for at least saying he's holding back Onazi. He starts running up, and now his game face is on, saying that BLUELOCK has incited the ego that isn't for their sake, but for solely Onazi. And we see Kuso weave Karasu and nutmeg Reo quick. Yo, what? Am I seeing this correctly? This cannot be the same guy who lost to like every BLUELOCKer earlier in the game and kept making a shocked face. Where was this at the start of the game when we needed it the most? I guess Isagi was damn right about their evolution, so round of applause to Isagi, and I guess Kuso for showing up at the last 5 minutes of the game. Karasu asks if Kuso snapped, and Raichi appears saying defend with your all, as he hits a Randy Orton special on Kuso, slamming into him, and this impact right here gotta be breaking one of their bones, I swear. Kuso though starts dialoguing that our dream as a family may end here, but even so, he wants to see the view of him taking on the world, as he passes the ball off of Raichi's tackle and gets it past Ryu. He literally waited until the final zone to start playing, but by now there is like 0 chance you're winning. We needed this so long ago, man. I feel like this is half a bad look on Raichi too. I know a lot of people had high hopes for him since he got subbed on, and even Nico managed to stop Kuso, so for Raichi with his physique not being able to is a little disappointing. But keep in mind, Kuso is awakening and also hit the pass while still getting tackled. I mean, this is a great feat and all, and I applaud you, but I still don't think it makes up for the first half performance. We were putting up the 007 numbers, 0 goals, 0 assists, 7 glazes on Isagi. Anyways, we see the pass zoom to Onazi, but standing there is Aiku like the Grim Reaper. So now it's a 1v1 between Onazi and Aiku. Also, keep in mind, Isagi with Metavision eyes was just here. In fact, a few pages ago, he was right next to Onazi, so he might pop up soon like the Mystic Man. Over the last page, Kuso dialogues that the light that lived within him, obviously talking about Onazi, reach the world with a single strike, as his aura eyes appear, and the chapter ends off there. The chapter picks up right where we left off. Onazi is staring at the ball from Kuso's pass, and Aiku is left defending him. He says that it's a perfect 1v1 pass in front of the goal, and that this is nerve-wracking. I'm gonna be honest though, bro, what is there to be nervous about? Nigeria for the past 85 minutes have been dilly-dallying, showing there is nothing to be scared about. This is just another day in the office, especially considering you've been in more important games. Aiku says if he can stop this shot, then we can finally reach peace and end this war, and we get a dedicated one-on-one panel for them, the awakened Onazi versus the captain of Japan. We then see Aiku using his analysis skills, talking about Onazi's shooting range being huge, and that he has to include his ability to shoot powerfully even midair. Onazi is hitting the dash straight towards him, and he got this man on a dartboard, saying that he can shoot upper, lower, left, or right. 4 possible shooting angles, so his chance to block him is 1 in 4. All of a sudden, though, Isagi with the pull-up game already predicted Onazi would take Aiku in a one-on-one, so now he's here, even taking some time to make fun of his Shining Hope name, which is kind of funny. He's still trash-talking mid-game. This guy always showing up at the right place at the right moment, even got his own teammate shocked. He confused how Isagi is always on defense and offense. I know Isagi haters are sick of seeing this guy always on on defense, but it low-key makes sense for later in this chapter. Right away, though, he's getting active telling Aiku he'll block this route, so Aiku tells him a good job and realizes that he's eliminating his shooting paths through a physical collision. Isagi sticks out his hand using Cobra Kai to block Onazi, he gripping him real hard here, by the way, and Aiku realizes that from his posture, he can only shoot from one spot so he can block it, a 1-on-1 chance. However, we see Onazi shift his eyes, and out of nowhere, he twists his body to chest trap the ball. Taking a page straight out of Nagi Seishiro's book, this got Aiku and Isagi stunned. Aiku even got the proper confused look, mouth open, double exclamation point, and a question mark, astonished at the play. And Isagi calls out they've never seen this move from Onazi before, so their pressing timing got completely thrown off. But his back is facing towards the goal, and that's when Onazi hits another spin to now face the ball in a proper shooting position. This play even got Isagi in shambles, reaching his hand out, and honestly, I would be a little scared too. Peep Onazi's foot, this is literally a demon slayer breathing. He got Sonami's wind breathing technique. Isagi says he twists further and leaps, and then we jump to the next page. Onazi has now revived a shooting line that had disappeared. He's awakened as we see Onazi has activated a Predator's Eye. Yo, what is going on right now? It's hype to see Nigeria actually awaken, and now we're left wondering whether they're gonna score or not. But at the same time, they still can't win the game regardless, so it's all the same result. Onazi shouts out that there are still so many versions of me inside of him. That makes him thrilled beyond belief as we see Onazi shoot the ball mid-air. And now it's time, folks. Does Onazi score a goal for Nigeria, ending Japan's sweep, or do we somehow clutch out a defense? We're all waiting as the next page reveals. Aiku gets in the way of Onazi's shot, grazing the ball off course. He did it, y'all. He saved the Soul Society. Take a good look at Aiku's form, too. This mid-air Mario jump, bro looking straight at it, kicking it. He's damn near an acrobat at this point. You would expect this behavior from Ryu with his long legs, but this is reminiscent of his U20 performance where he would just teleport out of nowhere and start blocking shots. Everyone but Nigeria fans are celebrating right now. We see Aiku's flow state eyes are activated, and I'm jumping up and down for joy. He tells Onazi that to bloom is talent, or blooming itself is talent, but he'll bloom too. And that might just be top 5 lines in Blue Lock. Onazi himself is so surprised that Aiku blocked that, even calling it impossible for him to pull it off. However, Aiku starts explaining that even though Isagi provoked Onazi's awakening, he was also demanding performance from Aiku himself. Meaning, even though he didn't know what kind of awakening would happen, he was signaling to him to be ready for a never-seen-before shot. So wow, Isagi is behind another play, even when Aiku was the one who blocked it. At this point, they could just start making up some fairy dust stories about how Isagi is the one who invented the light bulb, and I wouldn't even be surprised. Aiku says that mental preparation helped channel his reflexes to crush the new awakening, a brand new predictive defense. So in other words, Aiku pretty much got future vision. He takes a look back at the ball, wondering if it will go in or stay out, and as it curves, we see Kuso say it's in. And if Kuso of all people saying it's in, then it's probably not in. He really thinks we're gonna listen and believe him. We see Gagamaru reach for the ball, and what do you know? It bounces off the post, which means Aiku actually made the last-minute Superman save. Kuso gets hit with the panel of infinite despair, but while he's sitting there, the real hustlers, Sadiq, Aboabona, and Bello rush in for the loose ball. And y'all, I know this might sound like I'm pushing the Kuso is trash agenda, but how is he not moving here? Aboabona is moving all the way across the pitch. A defender, mind you, is still trying to go for the ball. Yet all Kuso can do is just stare. The rest of the team is playing, and he's just emo staring. I do gotta cut him some slack though, because with this score, everyone would have gave up hope too. Karasu, Raichi, and Reo are trying to go for last-minute blocks because any of them can just tap in the ball since Gagamaru currently needs a revive. But that's when we see a little braid at the bottom of the page. Corona Ronse comes in for the clutch clear. Nah, 2 generational saves in the span of like 10 pages. Corona Ronse, the man you are. He finally got his get back for getting shafted in the PXG game. He probably also took a gander at his defensive stats and realizes he needed to up those numbers. And everyone's face just tells you how unexpected this was. Bello was mid-slide, Aboabona was mid-scream, and Gagamaru looked like he saw a ghost. They actually executed the perfect 3-step plan to defend. Isagi to provoke the awakening, Aigu to block said awakening, and Corona to close it out. This is a generational defense we gotta study. Corona must have heard Kuso earlier because he says it's not going in, and this got me smiling ear to ear, dog. Like, I'm just as hype as all the people in the crowd seeing Corona get his moment. The commentators talk about Corona's super clearance, and then we cut over to Ego, who says total victory. And he's right. They literally completed the perfect game. We see Nanase turn into the most elated man in the world, and even Zantetsu's on his feet screaming in joy. Shido and Barou are also in the back making their cameo. Ego continues saying that the 45 days of special training up to today, and the fact that every player completed their tactical goals as planned, plus the new breakthrough in Rin's shooting line derived from Isagi Yoichi's zero top concept. This is the ideal first match for the egoist collective he created. Aiming to win the U20 World Cup, the first match played beautifully at BLUELOCK Japan. Ego is like a proud father, and I would be too. I mean, they utterly embarrass Nigeria even after all their backstories and awakenings, which is crazy. Like, that's the same energy as still losing even with your opening playing. Kuso, for the first time in the whole match, actually did something noteworthy. Onazi awakened Predator's Eye, and the rest of the people are hustling, and they still didn't make the goal. However, as the ball falls to the ground and we think the game is about to end, Isagi Yoichi has picked up the loose ball. Dog, what? The game was supposed to end. He shouts out that it isn't over yet, BLUELOCK, as all the puzzle pieces start to flow in for one last play. Oh my god. Isagi is actually moving like the Grim Reaper out here on the pitch because Nigeria is already down and out, bro. They're down. And he got that Cobra Kai mentality of no mercy. I know Johnny Lawrence was influencing, bro. And you know what's crazy about this fiasco? Even Ego is shocked. Jinpachi Ego, Mr. Nonchalant hand in pockets aura farmer, was surprised at Isagi continuing the game. This is the first time in the whole 324 chapters of this manga, Ego has been taken off guard. He wins the whole U20 game and he fist pumps, but he got the wide eyes and everything here. He can't believe what he's seeing. And you know, Isagi got all the brownie points this chapter because at the end, he asks BLUELOCK what's there to be satisfied about with only 1 minute left on the clock. The chapter picks up right where we left off. Isagi has the ball and is running upfield with only 1 minute left. We see even Henri is surprised, got her head turned 180 degrees and everything, calling his name and wondering what he's doing as we see him running up the field. Kuso is surprised, and I feel like I'm a broken record saying Kuso is surprised every single chapter, but he's shocked and saying no way is he planning to score another goal in just 1 minute. A Nigeria player calls out that he's coming and to counter him, Isagi swiftly passes though, and the ball goes to Itoshi Rin, who says he isn't satisfied. Isagi with the most serious side eye tells him, "Then come on, you beast." And yo, Isagi, the tone he's saying this, it's like he's damn near commanding Rin to follow him at this point. Is he forgetting Rin's also #1 with you? The next page reveals both of them making it up the field together, easily weaving one Nigeria player and Sadiq, which sends the rest of Nigeria into a big panic. Mr. Clean shouts out that they're building up a combo attack again, and even the goalkeeper is shouting from all the way back there. Got bro looking like Walter White. I know he's sick of seeing a BLUELOCK at the goal again. Another player shouts out to shut them down, and Isagi just stares at them and decides to pass to his side where Karasu is. This completely bamboozles Mr. Clean, and Karasu smiles, complimenting Isagi, which is the biggest switch up in Blue Lock history, by the way. One second he's calling him the weakest link, and the other second he's calling him the Demon King. This is the equivalent of your homies hating on you at the start of your grind, preying on your downfall, and then once you make it, they start writing it like no tomorrow. Isagi tells Karasu a nice pass and says he'll lift it to Bachira as we see him handing the ball off to Bro. The OG duo is here, folks. And take a good look at Bachira. This man is on a generational run because he quickly makes light work of 2 more Nigeria defenders. And at this point, bro, the defenders are like 0 and 8 in Blue Lock defenses. I'm actually starting to think the old U20 Japan defense is better than Nigeria's defense, which is a crazy statement considering how bad they were. Kuso shouts to look out for Isagi Yoichi, and oh brother, you cannot make this up. Bachira just weaved the hell out of your 2 defenders, and the last time you said this, Bachira scored, and he's still glazing Isagi instead. The Krispy Kreme levels of production from Kuso to Isagi, gotta have Harvard's greatest minds studying this. And even then, I don't think science can explain the sheer scale of how much he's complimented Isagi. I will say it's kind of valid for this moment though, because he hasn't scored yet, and that's what he points out. He says he's going to aim for his own goal for the last point. However, Bachira says in his mind no, and how shallow that thinking is. Our egoist, referring to Isagi, can't be measured by logic. If he simply wanted a goal, it would have been better to just keep comboing with Rin. So in other words, Isagi is just messing around at this point, experimenting with everything he can do. Bachira backs this up, saying he deliberately chose to pass to him, so Isagi wants something else. And we see Isagi point his thumb down while looking at Bachira, signaling something to him, which this gotta be something exclusive to Bachira and Isagi. They doing some non-verbal communication. They've transcended words. Bachira smiles with his aura eyes popping up, and he says, "Isn't that right, partner?" as he backspin passes the ball towards Isagi and Rin. I just gotta point out, Bachira's performance in this match might just be one of the best we've seen, because even after his goal, he's still landing passes and assists. The goalkeeper shouts out for everyone to gather in front of the goal. Kuso starts making a run as we see the pass nutmeg 2 other defenders. Like, dog, what are we doing, man? I don't think the defense has actually contributed to anything in this game. Aboabona uses goddamn kung fu to block Itoshi Rin, and Bello shouts out that they won't let them pass, as Kuso and Onazi both jump in front of Isagi, saying to stop him. Peep the levels of stress on their face too. They know Isagi is gonna have even more words for them if he scores this goal, so they gotta turn their game faces on. And you know what Isagi does, seeing both Kuso and Onazi jump in front of him? He says that's it, he was waiting to adapt to that, as he turns his back towards Kuso and Onazi. Oh my god, you're telling me Isagi wanted to get blocked on purpose so that he can adapt even further? And yeah, I know he's been saying that for the past few chapters, but still, seeing it here is insane. Onazi is absolutely stunned, just saying, huh? And he says that move, isn't that his reverse trap just now? So Isagi just yoinked his play. Isagi really out here stealing people's abilities. If Ryo is the person who copies other people, Isagi is stealing from other people and making it his own. Kuso points out that it's not the aerial one. He arranged it into his version of a ground pass, and now Kuso's starting to realize the gravity of this situation. He says that this is bad. Isagi played them both, and in an instant, the new move Onazi invented just now, he made it into a design for himself. And this is just bonkers. Isagi, holding back Kuso and Onazi, sends the pass upwards on his Nagi Seishiro timing and says, "Don't win by luck, seize your own victory," as the puzzle pieces start to flow around him. We see some movement, and next page reveals Isagi jumps up mid-air in a kicking motion while his foot turns into puzzle pieces. Nah, someone stop Isagi. Genuinely, when was he able to jump like this? I know we've seen it a bit during Manshine, but bro, this is the first time we've seen something like this from him. The actual levels of hype I got when I saw him spin around made me happier than a kid on Christmas. The dopamine hit was equivalent to OG Fortnite. If you know, you know. Kuso and Onazi can't believe what they're seeing. Just look at their eyes. That is the look of pure terror. Isagi dialogues that he shouldn't get shackled by his own formula that you've created once, while Onazi dialogues that this is the guy chasing to be the world's #1. We see a gun in the corner and Isagi in mid-air kicks the ball, saying this is his experiment, which, by the way, this gotta be the best Isagi shot panel. I prefer this one over the U20 one. Isagi says your own ideas, the thrill of the unknown, the curiosity to yourself, as we see Isagi shoot the ball into the net, scoring the 4th and last goal of the game. He did it, y'all. Bring out the champagne, folks. It's time to celebrate. Isagi Yoichi has scored the final goal of the Nigeria match. I had the widest smile reading this. Like, you just can't help it. I also like the fact that the gun is literally his full-on aura now. This goal was actually insane. And whoa, whoa, whoa. What is Kuso doing down there? Bro, splishing and splashing around. This is just too funny. This is quite literally the worst way you can end off the game. I can't prove it, but I just know Kaneshiro is making a laughingstock of Kuso, because this match was just back-to-back public humiliation ritual for bro. If there is one thing I'm amiss from the Nigeria match, it gotta be the Kuso slander. The chapter isn't over yet, though. We see Henri shocked at Isagi's goal, calling out that it was a quick reverse side shot volley. And then Isagi starts dialoguing that he doesn't need anything that goes as planned to stagnate us. To survive on the battlefield, he'll keep experimenting on himself. And get ready for the D1 Kuso glaze. He's coming in full force to analyze everything from the way Isagi moved his hair to the way he ties his shoes, all to say he's the most amazing, handsome player ever. I'm not gonna lie though, Kuso's glaze is justified this chapter. Like, Isagi deserves it after pulling off a goal like that. And folks, I don't think anything can prepare us for Isagi Yoichi's next actions, because he smiles and says, your thrill or football isn't enough anymore, Ego Jinpachi. Ref, judge, someone, stop bro, please! Ain't no way he's taking shots at Ego now. He just out-egoed Ego himself. This man cannot be stopped. This is the greed they talk about in the Bible. I just know the Isagi Glazers are rejoicing right now, losing a certain event that happens in November. You know, when SpongeBob had the best day ever, this is the best day ever for Isagi fans. I'm feeling like Kuso at this point because now I'm shocked. Ego just sits there silently as the last page shows Isagi screaming out for his goal celebration. We see Bachira, Raichi, and Corona run in towards him to celebrate as the opening match of the U20 World Cup has ended in a 4-0 win for Japan. And that wraps up every chapter of the Nigeria game from start to finish. So if y'all made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. I make a lot of other Blue Lock content just like this, so if you're interested in that, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Remember, Kuso is trash. Drink some more water. I love y'all so much, and I'll see y'all in the next one.